Dearest gentle listeners, we are back to talk about Bridgerton Season 4, Part 2. I'm Marie-Claire Gould, your host, and with me for all of these Bridgerton deep dives is Missy. Welcome back, Missy.
Thanks, Marie-Claire. We're going to have so much fun. Too much fun, really.
I have to say, sometimes our analysis is weird. And we're like, hey, we see these things. Let's see how it plays out. And it plays out exactly the way, symbolically, thematically, we think it will.
Yeah.
And even more so than the book. Because we had both read the book.
Yeah.
And they've read the same books that we have.
Right? Yeah, that was my takeaway after all of this was done, is I was like, oh no, I'm not just projecting. Somebody on that writing team has read these books. I know they have.
Yes, exactly.
And when we say these books, we'll describe what we're talking about. But if you are any type of long-term listener, it is all the books that we reference all the time that talk about folklore and psychology and, comparative mythology and so universal archetypes, all of that stuff.
Yeah, and one big one in particular, which will be really fun to talk about. So just as a warning at the top of the show, Bridgerton is a mature show. There's lots of nipples where we may end up talking about hands and hand placements.
That's right. So, hands got busy in this part of the season.
We got some busy hands.
Busy hands.
Busy hands. Let's dig into some of the themes and motifs. We might not go into so much detail in this part, but we will be retelling the main folklore fairy tale that we see in this story. But first things first, the main theme we see in the second part, which I think you and I have been craving.
Yeah, we wanted it so bad.
Has been family.
Family! Yes.
And we got to see the Bridgertons come out. They spent time. There's quiet moments. They were gossiping. We had Benedict go visit Colin, and he was hanging out with his two brothers-in-law and Gregory.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's
I love
this
that.
extended family, and John was part of the family and an important part. So it all felt like when he was lost, we felt it. I was so happy.
I was. We've always talked about this, right? It's the thing about the Bridgertons is after this many seasons, we know them. We are so fond of them. They feel like a real family to us. And so getting to spend time with them and seeing them come together, and particularly seeing them in combinations, which historically we haven't seen them. So, obviously in previous seasons when the focus was elsewhere, they would pair them off in pretty predictable ways. So you'd always get Benedict and Eloise and whoever else. But this time, now Benedict is the focus with Sophie. So Eloise is now paired with Francesca, and it creates a very different dynamic. Or sorry, not Francesca.
Oh, Hyacinth.
Hyacinth, my bad.
Yeah.
But yes, the point is it's a very different dynamic. And just in general, you get to see, or even, Violet's conversations with Benedict. We've seen her obviously talk to each of her other children, but we haven't seen her have in-depth conversations with Benedict before.
She's almost been ignoring him, letting him be his way. And we sort of find out more about that this season.
Right.
And
exactly.
I love it. I loved it. I loved it so much.
No, I loved it too. So it was very... It definitely gave me the warm fuzzies. I'm so extremely sat for every single season after this one. Give them all to me. I cannot wait. So
literally, I'm here for all of it.
Oh my gosh, all of it. Yeah. They can give me every single one of the children plus Violet plus whatever other spinoffs they want to do. Go nuts. I'm here.
Yeah. I have so much faith in these storytellers now. This is a little out of the themes and motifs area, but
sure.
With this season specifically, not that I didn't trust them before with their thematic storytelling, their ability to pull on, Psyche and Cupid and horse husband, horse wife.
Yeah.
Of course, Beauty and the Beast, but mixed with Bluebeard. We've seen all these motifs come out really strongly, and then they know what they're trying to say psychologically when they use them. I have so much more faith it's like doubled down because
Yeah.
of not only the care that they gave to Sophie and Benedict, but also the other characters, including
Yes.
Francesca,
Oh my God. I have
right?
to tell you, I know we'll get to this later, but just jumping ahead a little bit, especially because, the thing about Francesca's storyline is it wasn't peripheral. It was extremely important to the
Hmm.
central plot.
Yeah,
And
it ties into it.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it was like it was definitely not just happening on the edges, and I understood very clearly why they chose to have this plot development occur now and not later.
Hmm.
I thought it made a lot of sense. But the thing is that it just, I was completely emotionally invested.
Hmm.
Totally, totally. I thought it was so well handled and yeah, just really exceptional writing. And there are places in the overall season where I could quibble with this, that, or the other thing, but I got to tell you, in general, like where it counts, they're getting it right.
Yeah, the critiques that I've read, I don't know what sites you've been on, but the critiques I've read is primarily about, sometimes the wigs are not as good as previous seasons, and they're definitely using more green screen and like sort of cutting corners from a production perspective.
Sure.
Um, I, I don't care.
I don't care either. I've
Like
I've seen some weird takes that are like, you know, excuse me, for people that are like, I don't I don't like this change from the book or what. And I'm just like sitting here going, listen, there's
adaptation must.
yeah, and like in my head, there's just some very clear boundary between like book Bridgertons and TV Bridgertons, and I'm okay separating them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I want Netflix to invest in the show. I think it just polishes it if they can actually have the like, polish added to some of the scenes where it's very obviously like this was a green screen, guys. Come on. Like it
Yeah.
just like there's some pieces, but if that's the corner that they had to cut to get everything that they wanted from a story perspective, I accept, right? Like
Yeah. And I was just so carried away by all of it. I just didn't care. I was just like, I don't know. Like we talked about the last part in part 1, the whole thing with like Benedict's dying of fever and then he's fine.
it's fine.
He's
Yeah.
fine. Like that whole thing was ridiculous, but I don't care.
Yeah, yeah, no, and there's always sort of like
So
this like campiness, and in so many ways they smoothed the rough edges of the book for me. There
yeah.
was some rough edges.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we talked about this. I have to
Mhm.
be like, I'll be real with you. I didn't when all is said and done, I didn't really care for that book. I liked Sophie. I
Oh
thought she
yeah.
was a great character. But on the whole, I was not a fan of the book. And so the fact that they took what was in that and then transformed it into what we see on screen, and all of the bones of the story are there,
Mhm.
but they made it into something else. I I'm just so impressed and I'm so pleased and I'm so thrilled that it's like a no skip album, right? I
Yeah.
can still
Yeah.
watch every season of Bridgerton and not feel the need to skip anything.
And
And that's
it's a
fantastic.
solid like annual rewatch. I want to watch the whole thing. That is a
Right?
lot of commitment of
It's a
time.
lot of TV to watch all at once every year. I mean, that's serious, but I
It
want
has to.
to because it's
Yeah.
fun.
And like when we know when the new season's going to be coming out, we're going to be
Yeah.
like, yes, we're prepping our rewatch.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna be like, all right, let's go again.
And the only
Play
question is, do you
time.
watch Queen Charlotte first or do you watch it when it's in release
I watch it in
order?
release order.
I
I
watch
watch
it
it
in
in
release
release.
order too. All right, we
Listen,
got
we are of the Star Wars fandom. We know that release order is the way you go. So
is key. Um uh the next sort of theme was an appreciation of what's in front of you, and specifically this had to do with I think Francesca as well as with
hmm
like Benedict coming around to being like the lady in silver doesn't matter, right? Like this sort of piece of like what is in front of me is real, but it's okay that she was the lady in silver. It just means that she was, you know, uh, uh always there, right? The next one, did you want to cover?
Yeah, so one thing we talked about last time was the power imbalances and how they call them out in the script.
Mm-hmm.
That continues in this part of the season. There's, in fact, at one point, Penelope actually says it specifically like that. There is an imbalance. I have too much power. Lady Whistledown has too much power. And it appears other places. Cressida mentions it. Woohoo, Cressida's back. Yay.
I mean, yay. Welcome back, Queen.
No, I love it.
Barbie girl is back.
we're gonna get to that, but I just have to say, like, listen, I've become Cressida's #1 fan at this point. Just like she knows who she is and she goes after it, and I respect that about her. But anyway, look, there's a lot of talk continuing about the power imbalances, and there's a lot of confronting it directly and what that means and how they resolve it. And so it's very interesting the way that they approach it.
Power is made up.
Yes. Yeah. Power is made up. It's not real.
It's not real. It's only what people say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is incredibly egalitarian.
Yeah. It's really interesting the way they approached it. We'll get to this, but I get a little twinge of disappointment that the ending is kind of like
hand wavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We knew that was going to happen, though. I was like, the Queen. It's going to hand wave.
I feel yes, but I feel like as Venus, as the goddess of love, I do feel like she could have exerted more power rather than just sort of like accepting,
letting it happen.
Right. Yeah. So I think, I have minor quibbles with that, but in general, to your point, I think it's very easy to interpret it as just power is made up. It is what we say it is. Like she is claiming this part of herself, and in fact it is hers, it is her birthright, and it's okay. But it'll be, I do want to talk about that a little bit about, identity and what it means to declare yourself something and who you're doing it for, yourself or someone else or for society or whatever, because that definitely factors in.
Absolutely. We do have Cinderella continued, but I would say like this is the lightest version of Cinderella.
Yeah.
I have seen on screen, and specifically it has to do with sort of the returning of the lost object, which, we do have the glove found in the second part here, as well as the necklace. And
but the necklace kind of comes forward and the glove recedes.
Exactly. And the necklace itself is representative of her identity, of her soul, and so it becomes we're not going to talk too much about it, but it is the motif of the heart song.
Yes.
Which is from Skeleton Woman as a folklore. It basically just represents a tie between the characters, that he has something physical or sort of emotional or like a song that reminds him of her, and he hangs on to it, and it is sort of like a talisman to bring him back to her.
Yes.
That is what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's more powerful than the glove or than Cinderella's slipper because it specifically represents her heart. And that's the difference between a heart song and any other object that a lover might have, is that the heart song is always very, very specifically, to your point, related to the person, their identity, their soul, who they are on the deepest level, what is truly in their heart. And for her, that is represented by the necklace. In fact, it hangs right over her heart. So
and it's from her mother, so it's this feminine power as well.
It's also silver because silver, Lady in Silver. Yeah. It's also purple. It's amethyst, which is like hidden royalty. So it's like it's all there. And so that's all very deliberate as well. So again, it's more about the motif of the heart song than necessarily any reference to that folktale, but we thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, but we see the heart song in other sort of stories all over the place, and it doesn't necessarily need to be Skeleton Woman. It's just like sort of like a story way to call out to the other character. Like they'll look at the necklace, or they'll like, and in the first half it was all the drawings for Benedict. All the drawings of the Lady in Silver were what was calling to him, but he couldn't like understand any of it.
Yeah, and that's part of it too, is that, so to go back to what happens in Skeleton Woman, the reason it's referred to as a heart song is she literally plays the lover's heart like a drum and brings herself back to life because she's mythically dead. She is a skeleton, and so she sings flesh onto her bones. by beating this drum of his heart. And so the heart song is literally like his heart, the heart that they share brings her back to life. And so what's interesting is this is her heart song, but he drew all these pictures of her wearing this necklace because she's in his heart. So again, keep in mind, he drew all of these obviously without her present because she was in his heart. So like when he sees the necklace, it's like this recognition, and it is sort of what brings the Lady in Silver to life is him recognizing the heart song.
And that fullness of her persona is not just the maid, she is also the royalty, like, because she's a dual heroine, right? Like that is an important thing, is that she's a dual heroine, and she had to kind of be one on both sides.
She is of two worlds, and that's a very important part of her identity.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's talk about Handless Maiden. So we did talk about this in the first half, and surprise, surprise, they doubled and tripled down on Handless Maiden in the second half.
Absolutely. To the point of where I no longer believe it was accidental.
No, we were literally like, yo, where's your copy of Women Who Run with the Wolves?
We know you have it.
Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Show me your dog-eared copy of...
I know, I need to see it.
...of the book writer who definitely brought this up.
Yeah, exactly. I need to know. I want to see your they call them shelfies when you take a photo of your bookshelf. It's a shelfie. I need to see it. Like, show me. I want to see all the books.
Show us your shelfie. So we're going to do a quick retelling of Handless Maiden, the first half. Go back to our first episode if you want to dig into all of that symbolism from the first half. But this, we'll talk about what is definitely present in the second half as we also walk through the show.
Yes.
So, go ahead, Missy.
Yes. So I'm going to fly through the first half fairly quickly because of the fact that, that was all present very much in part one. And I'm going to go into a little more depth about the second half of the story because there is a lot of detail actually present here in part two. So once again, we have a miller, and he is approached by the devil, who says, hey, I will make you super wealthy if you give me what's standing behind your mill. And he goes, oh, no problem. There's an apple tree behind my mill. No big deal. And so then he does become fabulously wealthy. And unfortunately, it turns out that what was standing behind his mill was his daughter. So he has promised the devil his daughter. So the day comes, the devil is supposed to come collect her, and she cleans herself, stands in a circle of salt, and the devil cannot touch her. She is clean, she is purified, so he can't do anything. So he tells her she's not allowed to bathe at all. And so, she doesn't bathe, but she does cry, and the tears sort of cleanse her. He still can't touch her. Wants to come back a third time, says, cut off her hands. And so her hands are cut off, but again, she cries. It heals the stumps of her arms. And then, so the devil still cannot touch her. So at last, he gives up on her, but she now, because she is the Handless Maiden, is banished. And so she goes out into the world, and she is wandering, and she comes upon a garden. It is guarded by a moat. She is guided across the moat by a spirit, a kindly spirit in white, who helps drain the moat so that she can cross. And when she gets there to this garden, this orchard, she sees a pear tree. She eats the pear, and she is spotted by the king's gardener, who calls the king and says, hey, here's this woman, she's eating your fruit. The king sees her, falls madly in love with her, and decides to marry her. And when they are married, then he gives her these silver hands. So now she has the silver hands, and after a time they are married, and then he has to leave, go off on a journey. And so he leaves her in the care of his mother. While he is away, his wife gives birth to their child, and the mother sends a message to her son to let him know, hey, you are a father now.
You're
Congratulations.
a father. Yep.
And the devil intercepts the message and says, you have a dog-headed child.
You have a half-dog child.
Half-dog child. And the king is, on the one hand, shocked, but on the other hand says, well, I will love this child and accept and care for
Please
this
take care of
child.
the mother. It must have been
Yes,
shocking.
take
Yeah,
care.
take care of
Yeah,
my wife.
exactly. Take care of my wife, take care of the child. Again, the devil intercepts this. And when it comes to the mother, it says, excuse me, to kill her. And I think it even says to like take her eyes and her tongue.
Yeah, so there's a back and forth missive
Yeah, it goes back a few
conversation.
times.
Yeah, so like the mom's like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, she's like, "What? What do you mean?"
What do you mean? And then the devil intercepts this and is like, "Yeah, and don't just kill her, keep her heart in her tongue so that
Yeah,
you can
like
prove that you killed her."
right, right,
It's like
exactly. So
it like escalates up
it does.
and but then the mom's like, okay, and very like Snow White-ish, I guess.
Yes, or
She
Sleeping
kills
Beauty, they do it in
Sleeping
that too.
Beauty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same
she
thing.
kills a doe instead, keeps the tongue and the
Right.
heart,
Right,
and
exactly. And
sends.
she straps the baby onto the mother and, sends her out. Now she wanders and
Hmm.
eventually comes across, just these kindly like woodcutters basically who take her in, and she stays with them for 7 years.
Yep.
During that time, her hands begin to grow back.
Yep.
Now, back at home, the king finally returns from his journey. Says to his mother, "Where's my wife and child?" And she's like, you told me to
Dude.
kill them." Yeah, and then so they figure out what happened, and he's just horrified. And so then he leaves and goes out into the wilderness seeking for his family, and he starts to become dirtier and dirtier as
And
he
he
goes
has
into
to
the
wander
wild.
and suffer
Right.
and just
Right.
be, yeah,
But
brought
it's very
low.
critical that this story has so much of like becoming dirty and filthy and then also then being cleaned, and it happens repeatedly. It's a cycle that goes
Hmm.
on and on. And we've talked before about how the association with mud and dirt and everything is very wild woman, wild mate
Yeah.
in this case. So he has to become her equal in that they are both wild creatures in the wilderness, dirty, etc. And eventually he does find her. They're reunited. They actually have a second wedding and take their place then as the royal family. So the reason we've included some of these additional details is because they show up
Yeah, it's
in
wild.
the show. It's bonkers. So it's
And
very cool.
and even
Yeah.
like the renewal and becoming understanding wildish nature is
Hmm.
an understanding of life, death, life cycles. And the queen mother, it also represents this in intuitive knowledge that comes with age, and she
Hmm.
represents the like ultimate fertility
Yes.
and like wildish nature that protects the maiden
Hmm.
because of her like sort of wisdom and age, so like crone like wisdom.
Yes.
And the devil themselves also, like how that shows up in our psyche when we're facing with these motifs, is often a duality of not being able to make a decision. So
Hmm.
like, I'm really good at this. No, you're not.
Right.
Right? Then no, you're not. I'm good at this. I deserve love. I deserve care. No, you
Hmm.
don't. And
Right. Exactly.
it's the message that gets transformed. And
Exactly.
that's
It's
in
like,
our brains.
right.
But
It takes
we see it play out in Sophie.
exactly. And it's amazing how again, it's quite literal in the story. Like the messages that are intercepted by
Yeah.
Araminta and twisted,
Yes.
for
Yeah.
Sophie.
All
Like
of
it's really something.
I
So
like I was watching it and I was like, they're doing it. What?
they're doing it. It's like deliberate. It's right there. I
Yeah.
know. So
It
it's really
feels so
something.
weird to watch a show that you're like, and there
And
it
there it
is.
is.
There it is. Oh yeah, yeah, okay, there it
There's that
is.
too. I know,
Yeah.
exactly. And another point that you know, Clarissa Pinkola Estes makes in Women Who Run with the Wolves, which by the way, everybody listening, you should totally read it. At a bare minimum, definitely read this chapter. It's quite meaty. There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
in it. This chapter
She
about the
talks in
Handless Maiden.
metaphors. So
Yes, structures and
that's
metaphors, but it's like
yeah.
she talks about how while she is using the Grimm brothers' tale as the example that she tells. It is a tale that has been around for a very long time in many different cultures. There are many different versions of it. And that if you go back far enough, the devil, prior to being sort of Christianized, was a feminine figure. And so again,
Evil stepmother.
right, exactly. And so
Yeah.
you go back to this idea of the duality of the devil and sort of the kindly queen mother, because what you have there is you have both are mother crone characters, but they represent these different parts of the psyche. There is the part that is nurturing and that will care for you and that you're safe there. We've talked before about the lap of the goddess and how it's a place where you're safe, but you also don't grow. And
Yeah.
then you have over here the devil who is challenging you and tearing you down. And that is how you grow. It is necessary for the psyche, even though there is always a risk of becoming trapped in that doubt.
Yeah. And it is important for you to go on your own journey to discover your power again. And that's why, like, she has to wander. That's why she has to leave the locations that she's in. It's important to overcome and bring together. In the chapter, Clarissa Pinkola Estes talks about how you have to have your animus with you, so your wild mate. You have to have the wisdom of the, queen, the crone in you. You have to have the initiated maiden, and you also have to have the devil. You have to have all four of them so that you know the truth of the world from all the angles.
I'm so impressed. You almost just quoted that verbatim. Here, let me read.
Oh!
Here at the end, the woman who has made this sustained descent has melded together a sturdy quaternity of spiritual powers: the kingly animus, the child self, the old wild mother, and the initiated maiden. She has been washed and purified many times. Her ego's desire for the safe life is no longer lead dog. Now this quaternity leads the psyche.
There was no way I was pulling out quaternity. And I did include like overcoming the devil, but like that is like
great.
Basically the initiated maiden because she overcomes the predator.
Right, exactly.
Anyways, that's well, I was close. There's no way.
I love it though. But but that's the point, right? Is that and this is
collecting your pieces. This is your she also talks about alchemical union, cognientio, and that like the child is the product of you being able to say all of these missing pieces of myself have been found.
Yes.
Literally, Sophie is on a treasure hunt this half of the season.
Absolutely.
Because she's trying to like pull together, like, I'm not the lady in Sevillor, but maybe I am. I'm not just this maid. I'm also my father's daughter. I'm also, somebody who's important to Benedict. Like, it's all of, I speak Latin and Greek. Like, like I'm also this person. It's all of these different disparate pieces. And once you actually push them together and meld them back together, that's when you become whole. You become balanced. You're able to live your life on your terms.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Exactly. Yes. So it's really just Sophie's story of becoming, and I love that. I think that's so cool, and it's just such a wonderful story to tell. So let's get into it because it was fun.
Yeah, I do want to call out that she does actually ascend from being a hero to a queen in the second act. Here in the second part here. She becomes a young queen, and we see, because of how she cares for Hyacinth and even Eloise, that she is actually a queen, young queen.
And Francesca.
And Francesca, she cares for Francesca. So there's all this like nurturing bits, and she's definitely away from just being a hero. And I didn't call it out in the last episode, but oftentimes healing a sick king is what causes a hero to sort of transcend to the next stage of archetypical life cycle. And she is all going to be about what is family. And we hear it repeated. I'm just going to call it out now, but I'll probably repeat it when we get to it in the episodes. I've always wanted to be part of a family like this.
Yes. Perfect.
So it's exactly where we would expect to see her from a life archetype perspective for her character. And Yeah, I love Sophie. I love her so much.
She's a wonderful character, and Yaren Ha does such an incredible job with her. I'm so delighted. I also have really been enjoying all the little behind the scenes stuff we've gotten of them.
Yeah.
Again, this is the thing about this cast is that many of them have worked together for so long that they know each other really, really well. And then they bring in new characters and it just sort of adds a different dynamic, a different vibe to the cast, and it's just really fun, and it's fun to watch them sort of evolve over time. I was
Mm-hmm.
excited that we got Anthony and Kate back briefly. It's
Get to
just
see
like it was so
Edmund.
nice. Yeah, your baby Edmund is so cute.
He's so
And
cute.
so cute. So it's just fun.
All right, let's dig into episode by episode and call out different things that we saw. So, episode 5 is Yes or No, and this is all about primarily from the lens of Benedict and Sophie. We can call out some other stuff that we saw that we really want to call out, but Benedict primarily is persistent in getting an answer from Sophie about whether she will be his mistress, not realizing that this is effectively that devil message.
Yeah,
It
right,
is.
exactly.
It's trying to kill her, like psychically.
Yes, yeah, and I mean, he means well. It's at the time he just thinks it's the best option because he's not really truly thinking about it. And a lot of this episode is about other characters going, "Hey, dude, have you thought this through?" And he's like, "Oh, actually, no, I haven't.
I've
So,
done
yeah.
no thinking whatsoever, but he stays away from her. Like he is separated from her because he doesn't show up very often. He sends her
Yes.
notes. He sees her on the street, right? Rather than actually like in the space in the house.
Yes, yes. Oh, and I do want to back up a little bit because, as always, Bridgerton does tend to take these concepts and make them text. Which reminds me. So, one thing we may have missed in our themes conversation was, remember last time we talked about dream lovers? Dream lovers shows
yes.
up quite a bit in part 2. So one of the first ways that shows up is in the voiceover from Lady Whistledown, where she says, beings from opposing worlds are often drawn to one another. And so we hear this
because it's framed with the mistress conversation,
Right.
making it even more poignant to the world. Yeah.
And we hear this repeated frequently throughout the second half of the season, where about, well, we're from different worlds. There needs to be a world for us. I've created a world for us. So there's this idea of we can be together in the dream world, but in the real world, we are separated. And so that's kind of a primary tension in the story. And the fact that it's right there up front in the text is really important. And she even also says, though a moth may love a flame, it will burn should they meet. This is really important too, because a lot of their interactions happen around fire. Every time Sophie rejects something, she's throwing it in the fire. It happens multiple times through the season. You have the and it happens even in this sequence, actually, where she gets another follow-up letter from him. He's like, so, be my mistress, strictly yes or no? And she's like, no, and throws it in the fire.
And he's like passing notes.
I know. It's exactly how it goes. I love
he's so childish.
It's so funny too, because like his poor valet is like suffering.
Yeah. No wonder he betrays him to Anthony.
It's so true. He's just like, please,
like just smack some smarts into this guy. That's not possible with Benedict. He's got perpetual himbo energy.
Yeah. Okay, but to like continue with the whole like in another world, Mondrich even says that. Will Mondrich says, when Benedict goes to talk to him about this, he's like, okay, well, in some fantastical world, would you marry her? And Benedict's like, well, yeah, but we don't live in that world.
Yeah.
And so again, there's this concept of the world is the problem. The world is not accommodating us. We might need to make our own world. And so this is constantly the question. Yeah. So
great catch.
I talk about it a lot.
The Penwoods have moved into the neighborhood, and thus the devil is hunting through Varley by having. So we have like Mrs. Wilson asking about Sophie, like around the background, right? And then Varley's there catching all the hints. Like the servant conversations are still quite important in this second half of the season as well.
Yes.
but Mrs. Wilson figures out that Sophie Beck is probably illegitimate, and so
Mhm.
this is her, this is the sort of half dog lie.
Right. Mhm.
Right? Like, so the child is a half dog.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
That's the idea. And we have some sort of play out with, unless there's something else you wanted to bring up with the other characters, like Sophie and Ben finally like end up in his room
Right. Right.
together
Well, okay, so
with the
a couple
confession period piece.
Yeah, so a couple things. Firstly, we know that again, to go back to like they're keeping all these themes very up front and center. The power imbalance one is still there. This is the episode where we actually hear Penelope say, "The power
Mm.
I hold over the ton, it is too great. There is an imbalance." And so this is again really pulling that up to the forefront. And so yes, it's a problem. It's back and forth. We have the what is it, Hyacinth's ball or whatever,
Right.
which
Yeah,
is
like
so
the
cute.
recital, is it?
Yeah, it's like a dance recital basically, but she
Yeah.
treats it like a ball. And so she's very
Yeah.
excited about it. She can't wait for this. And it's really fun because you get to see how excited Hyacinth is about this. You get to see Gregory, considering flirting with with girls and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
It's very cute.
It's like a junior high dance.
It is
It
very
is
much
adorable.
It's so cute. And I love that
Oh
like
yeah,
the whole
and Benedict
Mhm.
approaches her at the thing, and that's why she leaves. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and I love this because this is one of my favorite things. You know how we talked about how like Benedict kind of drove us nuts in previous seasons because he just was never very serious and but he was also just like the fun-loving, like
Yeah,
sweet,
yeah,
like
yeah.
friendly,
Goofy.
upbeat, like
Yeah.
he's very positive about everything. And what I find so interesting is that like when confronted with I know what I want Sophie and I can't have her because of XYZ. The injustice of it is too much for him to take, and he gets angry, especially in the
Mhm.
second half of the season. He gets angry multiple times, and honestly, I love it. I love that we get to
Like when he
see.
throws stuff off his desk and when
Yes,
like he's just like so frustrated. But he's frustrated
yeah,
with on Francesca's sake. Like he
hmm
understands, he starts to like empathize with women in general from the
yeah,
first moments of this season
yep,
because she is sharing like her experience but also the experience of women around him.
yep,
And so
yeah,
he's a more compassionate brother, he's a more
yep.
compassionate like
hmm
son to his mom. Like he
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 is, but he also
cares.
is challenging them in ways that he hasn't before. Like
Yes.
he's always kind of just gone along, and the fact that so the reason I bring this up is because the precipitating event is, Sophie finds out that Araminta has moved in next door, and she kind of panics and she
Mm.
runs off. And obviously he's concerned for her, so he goes after her. And Violet by this time has figured out something's up with these two, and so
They keep on looking
she
at each other. What the
right.
hell?
So she goes running after him and is like, whoa, 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 leave her alone. This is inappropriate. And he, to her face, is like, oh,
Oh
really?
yeah.
Inappropriate? Like, you
Yeah.
are betting a man who's not your husband down the hall from your children. So, back off with your hypocrisy. And like, Violet is shocked and like,
Shocked.
she's embarrassed and like it's pretty intense because she didn't think anyone knew, and clearly Benedict like had her figured out pretty early.
Like he
So
nailed
yeah,
but that's the thing, like they are the same type of person. And so
they are
he
very
clocks
much.
when like she talks with
Lord Anderson.
Lord Anderson
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
mom."
Yeah. Mom, I know what you're doing. And it's like, it's great. And so I really love it. The fact that she kind of goes with her usual, no, 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 what are you doing? That's not appropriate. And he's just like in her face, he's like, nope, you stay out of my business. So he runs after Sophie. And yeah, and it leads to this, first of all, a love confession.
Yes.
And, and then this scene of intimacy. And I want to point out that, like, compared to every other couple in Bridgerton so far, once Benedict and Sophie confess their love for one another, while there are challenges, they really are steadfast. They
Oh
really are
yeah.
like, we're in love. We know we are. We acknowledge it. We accept it. We just understand there are
the
other
things
forces
that like the things that are
separating us.
keeping us are apart is the world. If we
Right.
had a magic wand, we would be together today. Like
Exactly.
that's definitely it. I really loved her confession, her side of it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and
Yes.
his side. Like I like I've been foolish enough to fall in love with you. I love you,
Yep.
Sophie. And
Mm-hmm.
then like sex in Bridgerton is really, really, really important.
It is.
This union is an alchemical union. It has the potential of producing a child. I know that it seemed a little ridiculous and like she was only like 8 days away from her period or whatever
Mm-hmm.
in the calendar, but like like it's the potentiality of the
Right.
union that was
Mm-hmm.
important psychologically.
Right.
And I want to call out that Benedict specifically told his mom he knows how to be careful, and he was so not careful.
Yes, exactly. He's like, I know what to do. And she's like, ugh. And then it's like, oh, no, you were not
No, he
careful.
didn't care. No, this
But
is big for him.
it's not
Yeah.
just that. It's also just a big part of it was that Sophie is unusually well educated in sex
Yeah.
compared to pretty much all the other heroines so far.
Yes.
Like she knows what's up. Even just the way she's tracking her period, I thought that was really fascinating. And I was like, I wonder, like, did they actually do that? Like
Did they
during
know?
Regency times?
Yeah.
I'm really curious. Like, so anyway, but it's really fascinating to watch that. But the point was that it goes back to like she has so much agency in this relationship.
Mhm.
And that's very much for Benedict, that's very deliberate because the only way he can feel secure in her love is if she's making all these decisions herself. So the fact that, once again, consent is highlighted very much in this scene, the fact that they check in with one another multiple times, that's also
Yes.
important.
And she's like, please go slow. Whoa.
Right.
Yeah, that was really good.
But even while they're still undressing, he's like, "Is this okay?" And she's like, "No, I
Yeah.
do want to do this." So like they they check in repeatedly,
and
all that
also
kind of stuff.
focus on female pleasure, which is always like a
Always
big
a thing.
thing in Bridgerton is a big thing.
Absolutely.
So, like
Absolutely.
I don't know, man. Bridgerton, it's great.
It's amazing.
Does.
I'm so glad it
does all the
exists.
things.
Yeah. Well, and then I want to point out the beginning of their sequence. Once again, he's like kissing her hands and her wrists.
Oh yeah.
Once again, because that's the thing with them. Because remember, at this point in the story, she is still handless, so he's and once again, like they're changing positions a few times, and there's at least one time where he is helping out with his hands, and so we see that repeatedly of like he's using his hands during
to
this.
help her,
right, to help her. So we see that in this, and that becomes important later in their next intimate scene, which we will get to later. But yeah, so
this is great.
It's great. Once again, Bridgerton always doing the most, and I love it.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic.
Maybe embarrassing if your teenager walks through the room while you're watching it, but whatever.
Possibly, but hey, this is the world. But yeah, so then we get into episode, what is it, 6?
And passing winter.
Yes.
So are we experiencing time change? That's
yes.
There's time that is passing.
Well, there's a lot of it's fall. So you see when she circles the date, it's October 31st. It's Halloween actually. And then when like the next 8 days, it's in November. And so so it's very interesting because it is, fall, late fall, it's moving toward winter, which is fascinating. So so they but the new Lady Penwood arrives, and we only see, so I want to point out a sequence of like hand related stuff here, because we just saw hand related stuff and now there's more. So new Lady Penwood arrives, we only see her disembodied gloved hand shaking insistently. We don't know who it is yet, but unless you got spoiled beforehand, which is like fine. Kate and Anthony return, and before we see their son, Kate is kissing Anthony's hand. So again, it's like you see
lots
this over
of
and over.
Hand language, yeah.
Yeah. Francesca and Michaela are friends now, which is very cute, and occasionally you'll see them like sort of grasp each other's hands in different situations. So it's just again, they're emphasizing it so much. We talked about how we have the casting of Hazel, who has only one hand, and we have all these others. Like, there's so
Mhm.
much hand stuff. It's all very, very deliberate.
It really is.
So, yeah, it's awesome.
We have the morning after.
Yep.
And I loved how they like basically just like turned up the lights on the
Mhm.
sun. It was like
Yeah.
all of a sudden it was dark, and then it was like lights on, and she's like, "Oh wait, it must be 5. I have to
Yeah.
get up." And he's like, "No, no, what are you doing? We're like this was a wedding.
Yeah, exactly. He's
I'm
like,
married now, excuse
Right.
me, excuse you." And she's
I
like,
know.
no, we ran away with our passions. This was
Yeah,
a
exactly.
mistake. And Benedict's like, what?
I know. And every time she says that, she's like, "Oh, we were carried away. It's a mistake." He like gets so pouty. He's like, "What
He's
do you
so
mean?"
pouty. He's like, "No, things are all different now. You're married to me now."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's like,
Exactly.
and she's like, "No, dude, I gotta go work."
Yeah, I know. She's like, "I gotta get to work, man." But at the same time, they do still have like kind of a cute interlude where like they're kind of
Yeah.
smoochy a little bit before
Like-
she sort of sheepishly like sneaks out. So it's still
walk of shame.
yeah, exactly. So it's just like they're still, again, once they confess their love, they are, their misunderstandings do not last long after that.
No,
they're
no,
very
but
much on the same page.
She
So.
tends to like, I was trying to put this into words, and actually I
Mm-hmm.
read a take on Reddit, oddly.
Mhm.
Somebody was like, she just can't ever fully commit because there's this little voice in her head that says you're not worthy. And I'm like,
Right.
that's the devil, man.
It's the devil.
That's the devil.
You can't trust her.
And she can't. Yeah. Yeah, and again, like Benedict himself is like on overdrive, and so much his like
Yes.
ballet is like, whoa, dude.
Yeah. Well, no, he specifically says, "Mr. Bridgerton, you are inspired this morning." And
Yes.
when I saw that, I was thinking of you being like the miraculous energy.
Yeah, so an outcome of an alchemical union like that is
Yeah.
that you are filled with energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? You are filled with like, so I would argue that it's only on Benedict's side that he gets the miraculous energy.
Very much. Well, yeah,
Sophie
because
is
she's
still,
being
like-
held back. Well, again, she's still psychically dismembered, so she
Yeah.
can't be filled with the miraculous energy because she's still the Handless Maiden. She has to grow the hands back before she has to be unblocked by
Yes.
her doubts coming from the devil before she can have that.
And that all happens like later on.
Yeah.
And it does happen, which is
Yes.
great. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, absolutely. He is filled with the miraculous energy that is the product of having an alchemical union with your other half.
Yeah, so it's almost like Benedict had the baby.
Yeah. The baby is Benedict's.
Yeah,
He would, he is the type of guy, if it was like a choice, he'd be like, no, let me do this for you.
He's like, "I got this." Yeah,
I got this.
So yeah, so they slept together and Benedict got pregnant. That's what happened here. Okay, guys.
Try to explain this clip to anybody. All right.
It makes sense. I think it makes sense. But it's so there's this. He's also just in general, every interaction you see with him is different. He's not drinking as much. He mentions he wants to.
Goes and hangs out with his brothers.
Yeah. He's like, "I want to keep a clear head." Yeah.
I want to keep a clear head. And Anthony's like, "I'm going to kick your freaking ass."
Yes.
Like,
Anthony.
Oh my God, seeing him angry again? I was like,
I loved it.
Whoa. Angry Anthony is back. He's like, "I'm away from my wife and son for this."
Yes. I was so glad. I was like, Anthony, like he loves Kate.
We needed this.
He loves his baby, but Anthony is in his heart and soul kind of a dick. Okay, so
yeah,
we needed that. We needed
to be reminded that Anthony is often wrong.
Yes. Usually.
And without Kate around, he is wrong.
He is. When Kate's there, she can kind of like
Whoa,
kick
dude.
some sense into
Yeah.
him. But without her there, he's just aggressively wrong. So that's what he's doing in this. And like again, to his credit, Benedict pushes back a lot more than he has in the
Yeah.
past. Because again,
He's
he
like,
has this confidence in
you
in
haven't
what he
been
feels for
here.
Sophie.
You don't know me anymore,
Yeah.
bro. Like, oh man, it was so good. And Colin's just in his merry world of like, I like to drink and I like to eat.
Yes. Oh my God.
I love my wife drinking and eating.
Yes, which reminds me, by the way, when he gets together with the other Featherington husbands.
Yeah.
Okay, so I saw somebody refer to that as, and I'm so sorry I don't know where I saw this, but it just killed me. Called them the Dukes of Tastings. I was like, oh my God, I love it.
They're having cheese. I love that scene. I also love that he's been like a coach to Gregory. He's fulfilling his
my
little like
God.
Cupid role, right? Because we talked about how
Amazing.
he was
Yep.
he's Cupid in the previous season.
Yep,
He's still like very invested in helping those around him find love, especially his younger siblings. So
Yep.
I love it. And in the
It was
in the
so
other
cute.
Bridgerton books, Colin really loves to eat. and
Yeah,
drink.
he's super into it. So it's like, yeah. So okay. So some other things we see that are very Handless Maiden. So the devil comes to visit Violet and tells
Yes.
her lies about Sophie.
Yeah.
Right?
The messages.
So
the
so she
lies.
tells her, oh, she stole from me and all this other stuff. And so so she's sitting there talking to Violet, telling lies. So this is the devil passing, false messages to the king's mother. And so that's happening there. Plus, afterwards, Violet comes to visit Sophie and kind of ask her about some of this. And Sophie mentions that in 7 years, Lady Penwood never once paid her a wage. And this reference to 7 years, which comes up multiple times in this part of the season, is really important because 7-year periods are really important in folklore. There is a 7-year period of exile in the Handless Maiden, but also just in folklore in general. It's very common that when you are in bondage to whether it's the devil, a lot of times it's the fairy queen, maybe you might be in bondage
Under
to the
a
fairy
curse.
queen, right? Or under a curse or something. A lot of times this is a 7-year period. So the fact that she spent 7 years within Araminta's power is significant. And that's also the folklore aspect here of it could have been any amount of time, but it's 7 years because that's how long you typically are in exile or in bondage to this evil power that keeps you limited. And so yeah, it's really fascinating.
So I did want to call out that like Sophie's very distracted by everything that has happened, and Hazel actually like catches on and is like, "Oh, you're like in love with somebody.
Yeah,
you left after the little recital, and you totally met up with them. Is it somebody here? No, it couldn't possibly. You're too far educated, too educated to have fallen in love with somebody who works on the staff." And like Sophie's like really churning this over, and Hazel's like, we're not just born to work and die. I love that line so much.
Exactly. So true. Also, just like, I know we get bits of her and John in this, but I am absolutely
for it.
Excited that we're hopefully going to get more of them in future seasons. I'm very excited for that. So anyway, they're so cute. I love them in general. Just especially the way that like John admittedly flirts with everyone, but he clearly is really into Hazel.
And he cares about what she thinks.
I know. It's so cute. I love it. It's adorable. I love them. They're so cute. Okay, so a couple other things. So we have Violet giving Sophie a letter of introduction and encouraging her to leave. That actually is the mother-in-law in the Handless Maiden, replacing the Handless Maiden with a deer and sending her off with her child strapped to her chest. She's saying, I need you to be safe. You have to leave. You can't be safe here. And that's very much what's happening here, is that she doesn't want to let Sophie go, but she understands that she's not safe from the devil in this house. So this is very important. And then we finally find out it's Cressida.
Yeah, that was great. I was so happy to see her back.
Yes, I'm happy. Her ridiculous pose. I love it.
Yeah. I watched this really cool video actually comparing Cressida's outfits or hairstyles, and they said actually they could have done more. Because
Yeah,
like
for sure.
the 1820s is when the big hairstyles started to happen, and it's like Cresta's like she's like a fashionista. She's
Yeah,
ahead of the way,
absolutely.
like she's ahead of the curve.
Yes,
I
I love
love
it.
it.
I really, really, really enjoyed seeing her back. I liked that on the one hand, she was still a giant pain and a snob, and at the same time, she's definitely like changed because she
Hmm.
went through a lot of really painful stuff. We get another direct reference to the power imbalance. She says to Penelope, "Between the two of us, you hold all the power now." So again, they're continuing to keep it very up front and center. um More hand stuff. The Mondriches use boxing as a lesson
Yes.
about like finding your opening and taking it. She's like punching his hand and everything. It's like, it's so cute. I loved that sequence in general just because, again, continuing to reference their background and roots as characters. He was a boxer, and he's like, yeah, you can't be the wife of a boxer and punch like that. Hit me harder. It's so great. I
It's
love it.
so good.
Oh, so cute. Oh, and then the orangery is back,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I'm
the
very excited about.
conservatory.
Conservatory.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which is their garden, Like it's their
It's their
secret dream
garden.
world.
Yes, there you go. It's so
Yeah.
this is the and he again, it's
But
all in the script because he says that. Is she goes, "What's this?" And he goes, "Oh, it's a world just for us." So again, this is dream lovers. This is the dream world where they can be
and they're
together.
wearing blankets because it is a
Yes.
dream world. Like that's like a it's like a
Yes.
little thing. Like they're little
It's
kids,
the middle of
sort
the
of. It's
night,
the middle of
and
the
like
night.
it's
He
almost
puts
like
a
having a tent in the backyard.
Yeah, like it's their own little world. And
Yeah.
I love this because Benedict is whole with her.
Hmm. He
So
is.
he is able to share that he has loved both men and women in the past.
Hmm.
And Sophie totally just is like,
She's all
yeah,
about it. She's like, more
the world
love.
needs more love. And,
Absolutely.
but the fear for Sophie about this prospect of a potential future is
Hmm.
all about the devil's influence in saying that
Yep.
she is not worthy of
Yep.
happiness, of
Hmm.
owning her own sort of name and power and all of these things. So
And that
again,
everyone will
it's
eventually leave her and
leave
betray
her.
her,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, she's not worth committing to. Like that's what she believes. Of course, what she doesn't realize is things like, again, they're both wearing blankets. Why? Because when she shows up, he puts the blanket on her because he is claiming her for his world. Anytime
Right.
the lover places clothing or a mantle or anything like that on top of their lover, then it indicates that they are claiming them for their world. So it's like he is saying, "You are mine. You
Mhm.
are, I claim you for myself and for my world." And of course, she doesn't know that, but all the motifs are there. So I did love that. Plus, the conservatory and the orangery has a history in Bridgerton. In season 2, it's where couples snuck off to, the whole
Mhm.
thing with, what was it? Prudence, like
Yeah.
trying to trick Lord Featherington into marrying her or whatever. But there were other couples too. Right.
Unknowingly.
Right,
Yeah.
that whole thing.
Yeah.
But in Queen Charlotte, it's where Charlotte sort of discovers her agency. So if you go back
Mhm.
to that episode, we talk quite a bit about fruit maidens and everything else. And so it's all about, I will pick my own oranges. And we know that agency is a huge part of Benedict and Sophie's story. So having them in this world that is theirs and having it be in the orangery, given the history in Bridgerton, is actually significant. So I thought that was very cool as well.
Mhm. No,
Hmm.
absolutely. And he sort of presents her with this with the drawing of my cottage, which he has renamed Our Cottage on the drawing.
Which I love. Love, 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 love. I love it so much.
And it is sort of like the sort of like this is our third path. Like we don't have to
Yeah.
do things. And he even says like I'll go back and forth between London
Hmm.
and this place. So
Right.
it's to say like I'll be the one who has to live in two worlds too.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's really good.
Well, and
Um
he's He's getting closer. Like first his
Yeah,
solution.
no, it's certainly not the solution in the end, but
Right,
yeah.
because first his solution was be my mistress, and then he had a number of people talk to him about why that wasn't going to work. Now his solution is, oh, it's fine. We'll live in the country, and I'll just go back and forth. And what's going to happen next? Of course, he's going to have a number of conversations about why that really isn't going to work either. So it's sort of like process of elimination until the only option left is marry her, dude.
Yeah, right?
Like for real. So it's very funny. Then there's this excuse me, this scene where Kate shows up, she brings the baby, and so the whole family finally gets to meet baby Edmund. And Benedict is sort of hiding outside the room, and Lady Danbury comes up to him and is sort of like, "What are you doing? What are you hiding from?" And they have this whole conversation about what is his identity now? Who is he in this family? And he talks about how, the heir and the spare, right? He's been the spare for so long, and now there's a new heir, and so he feels purposeless. And
Extra spare.
Exactly. And we talked about how Benedict has always lacked purpose, and when he met Sophie, he finally found purpose. But now that he's not sure if the future that he imagines with her is really going to happen, he sort of looks and goes, well, what is my role within my family? I don't really even know. But also he feels envious because he sees how excited his family is to welcome this new baby. And this is during the period of time where they don't know yet if Sophie is pregnant or not, TBD.
Yep.
And so he's thinking of if we have this child, will I be able to bring that kind of joy to my family, or will we be separated? Will they not feel the same way about my child with Sophie that they do about Anthony's with Kate? And so it's a really beautiful moment. I think that through in previous seasons, Benedict and Lady Danbury have had some really wonderful conversations, and I thought this was another one that just was just very heartfelt and
she's the fairy godmother of the
she
Bridgertons.
is. She totally is. She and she knows it too. She takes that mantle on willingly. But it was really beautiful. So, few things happen. First, Sophie misses her period, so she thinks at first that she's pregnant. She's not sure. Then we get to Cressida's pink ball. I gotta be real with you. I love Cressida's pink ball.
Yeah, it's great.
I thought it was fantastic. I would go.
Right?
I thought it was awesome.
I also loved how Kate was like, we should forgive her. Like,
yeah,
we should come to the ball. I also loved the shenanigans that Mrs. Mondrich pulled the queen.
That's right. Yeah.
and in the end, Penelope to get revenge.
Yes, it was all so good. It was like everything. Well, Penelope was like, on the one hand, it was revenge, and on the other hand, it was also like she kind of saved Cressida from embarrassment, which I thought was interesting. So it was all very well done. It was cool. The characters, again, they're such interesting characters, and they continue to get more interesting and give them new paths. And I think having Penelope specifically set aside Lady Whistledown is a really important thing. So
yeah, I think it is too. Yeah.
It's important for her character. I'm looking forward to seeing, who she becomes post Whistledown. So that was very cool.
I loved Sophie's solution to sneak Hyacinth into the ball with Eloise, and Eloise went, and they became closer as siblings because of Sophie's help.
Yes, and just Eloise in general, she is starting. So she's just starting to realize that she's lonely, and she, envies that everyone else.
In the first half.
Everyone else has companionship, and she does not. And so at first she's really bitter about it, and that's why she's so kind of mean to Hyacinth. But she's starting to realize that, firstly, she feels kind of guilty that her cynicism starts to rub off on Hyacinth. But secondly, she realizes that she doesn't have companionship. And so if she alienates her family, she will have no one. And so she really, she starts to really lean into these relationships. And so she proposes this idea to Hyacinth of like, I will sneak you in, and Sophie, can you help me? And it's great. So I thought it was great. It was a overall wonderful twist for Eloise. I know we'll talk about the characters after we get through the main plot, but like, yeah,
I love that scene so much.
It was such a good scene. I loved it.
And then like how Hyacinth was like, this was the best night ever.
Yes, she's so excited.
Even though
so
she got to be invisible, she got to be a maid. And so we also see that power dynamic and her appreciating that as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I also thought it only really works in retrospect, but John and Francesca have this moment where he like kind of sneaks her out and they look at the sky together, and it sort of calls back to their initial meeting. Right. And I want to point out it's a full moon right before it starts waning.
Oh.
So it's like really sad because in retrospect, it's like, oh, this was like their high water mark. This was their full moment. This was their full moment before it starts to fade. And so that was just really heartbreaking. But it was so beautiful and they're so sweet. And I love that moment.
Viscount Anthony Bridgerton always be wronging.
Oh my God. He threatens to disown Benedict unless he leaves Sophie. Like,
I know.
Oh my God.
Like, I get it. I get his point. But he's also kind of like wrong and also an asshole.
He's wrong and an asshole. He's both of those things.
Like he's like, I couldn't look Edmund in the eye and like know that I've made him illegitimate. I'm like, really, dude? Come on.
Yep.
Like, no, he's so strung up about honor. This plays into the other books like really well too. But I'm like, man, this guy. It was nice to see him angry about something.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah,
Anthony's back, man.
Yeah, it was. And again, I don't think it's a regression for his character.
No,
I think it's literally just who he is. This is who he is. We talked about this. He and Kate were bullies in their season. Yes. And he did progress. Like he is now in like a queen phase, but he can be kind of a sorceress at times, right? He will
protect the family whether they want it or not.
Exactly. Right.
Like it's not a good look on him, but it is what it is. Like he's all about the Bridgertons. He's all about protecting his family.
Yeah, he's totally committed, and it's just I don't know. I loved it. It's
it's the most conflict
so
we've gotten from them, like from him in any direction since the season.
Right.
Because he hasn't been around, but also like just in general, like it was just really nice to see Anthony back. Like I wanted him. All of his probable freak out about having a baby and like the first year was elsewhere, like they were in India, but like it's nice to see him back, and I want him to do that again.
Yeah.
In future seasons, because there's reasons.
Absolutely. And like listen, all of his other siblings are gonna give that man such heartburn, and I'm here for it. I want to see it. Give it to me. So it'll be really fun. So
it's just I like chewing down the Alka-Seltzer.
I know. I know. Just
or the like the calcium
exactly.
Just like trying to get his heartburn.
Yeah, give him some Tums. Yeah, so it's like so it's so funny. And then so Sophie basically she realizes she's not pregnant, and then she thinks the way she's thinking is like, okay, I dodged a bullet because I'm not required to become his mistress now because it's my only option. And therefore, I need to get out before I have to leave him before he leaves me. That's what she's thinking. Yeah. She's like, this can't possibly last. He won't commit to me. He won't love me. I gotta go. And so
it won't last. Yeah, because all of the mistress stuff is like, is her shadow, right? Like she can't deal with that in that way. So she does tell him she's leaving because this was a mistake. Yep. And oh, poor Benny boy.
Oh my God. Once again, the pouty face. He's so sad
like,
every time she says that.
Please don't call that what happened, between us is a mistake. And I put in quotes for myself. Look, I'm finally a whole human.
Yeah,
Last human.
I know.
You can't rip that away from me.
It's so true. And it's so cute the way that even as she's telling him that she will leave him, he's still trying to be like, well, you can still stay at my house with my mom. And it's like, it's so cute because it is that moment from Handless Maiden where he leaves his wife in the care of his mom. And then when he gets this message that she's given birth to a dog baby, he's like, please care for my wife and baby. So like,
and dog baby.
Right. So
yeah. So that's like, he's like, it's okay. We'll figure out how to love them. It's cool. Like,
so that's the thing is he still wants to care for her in spite of the fact that she is absolutely breaking his heart right now. And so that is it's just so beautiful. And then to have that as the backdrop for the shock of
John's death. Yeah, that was really hard. And so we move on to episode 7, The Beyond. And I do want to say, like using John's death as a foil for the psychic death that Sophie is going under, because she is going through a descent from a psychological perspective. So this is talked a lot about in Estes, but also in Maureen Burdock. You can go and talk with Joseph Campbell. Like, it's a descent into the underworld. That is what is happening. And so all of the frame of this whole episode being death and what grief looks like, what death looks like, what the stillness of death looks like is part of the cycles of rebirth, because you cannot be transformed unless you let the old version of yourself, your ego, die. Yeah. And so this is what this whole episode is, but it also services Francesca, Michaela, the whole family in such this like really, really, really wonderful, loving way to show grief is actually love.
Yeah. I was shocked by this episode the first time I watched it. Because firstly, I think we talked about this. We didn't think that they would have John die this season. We thought that was coming in a future season. So I did not expect it. I
saw some stills of Francesca in black, and I was like,
oh, you knew. Okay. Yeah. I didn't. So
before the season came out, but
I
that's
was
fine.
very shocked. I thought even when he keeps complaining of not feeling well, I still thought like, oh, they're just going to make it like a long, slow decline. But instead it's just like so sudden. And I was just really surprised. And then I was amazed at not just how well it was handled in general, but also just how well it did, to your point, integrate into the main storyline. Like, it absolutely made sense. Absolutely made sense. It has direct implications for Benedict and for Sophie and for all the characters, really. And I just really thought it was incredible. But I also just thought the way that it's presented, it's so obvious that whoever wrote this has very personal experience with loss and grief, because it depicts that whole experience so well, so accurately.
And potentially miscarriage, because there's a lot of miscarriage related sort of motifs that are presented, especially like how women are mistreated by patriarchal society when it comes to health, when it comes to what they say happened, all of those things. And like, we see Benedict over the course of the episode not only get so mad about his own situation, but about feeling for Francesca and what she's had to deal with, and like just trying to help.
Yes.
Like, just trying to help.
Yeah. And that's so important for him too, because again, prior to this, he believed that, well, obviously I don't want to be separated from my family, but it's okay. I'm willing to do it for Sophie. And this episode really forces him to confront what that means, how deeply he loves his family, how important it is to him to support them and to be there for them. And I think especially with Anthony not being there, how much he feels they all rely on him. And so it's like he really has to acknowledge exactly what he is considering, what it really means. And so I think that's really important. I also really loved seeing him in many ways go back to his roots. The thing about Benedict that we've always talked about in previous seasons is he is the best big brother. He is
Yeah.
just like, he's such a good big brother. He's like always
Like he cares for all the younger kids.
absolutely
He plays with them.
right.
And he is there when they need him.
Yep.
Whereas Anthony's always like honor what the family represents.
Right.
Like all of these like esoteric things.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah, well,
Benedict's like the mom of the brother.
Yes.
Like it's
right. Well, because
you know?
Anthony's not looking out for anybody's like emotional well-being.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's not a
just
nurturing
like,
guy.
No, he's not. And that's just not his personality. But like Benedict absolutely is. Like Benedict
Yeah.
instinctively, he pays attention to how people feel. He, is very conscious of what's going on. Again, we talked about how he figured out what Violet was up to pretty early. Like he intuitively understands the emotions of the people around him and he feels them very strongly.
And intuition is the sign of a wild bride or bridegroom. Like that is like that being the thing. So like the fact that he has all this intuition that is very Violet like, very Sophie like
Yeah. And so there's so many moments in the whole kind of funeral sequence that I just really just hit me so hard. I think overall the whole idea of like Francesca, the only way she can keep it together is by focusing on like what needs to be done. And she's like, oh my gosh, I need to make sure everything's in order.
There's not enough biscuits.
Right. There's not enough biscuits. And
I identified a lot with this.
Exactly. Yeah. And
having gone through it with my parents.
Yeah.
It was really hard. I think that they handled it just really beautifully.
It's so good.
Cathartic.
And the scene where she like goes over to her siblings and like begs them to eat the cookies, and Eloise is immediately like, okay, everybody grab a cookie.
Yeah.
Like they're all like, we gotta be here for Francesca. Everyone eat a cookie and tell me what you think is in it. And they all start like saying, I think there's some ginger. Like, they're all like, like it's so cute that they're all just like and there's this expression on Francesca's face of like, she's devastated, but she's also like so grateful that her siblings are playing along because it's what she needs. It's so sweet. And then, someone comes over and tries to ask Francesca for something, and you can see her starting to like lose it and panic a little bit. Sophie notices and comes over and is like,
away.
She's like,
fix her
hey,
hair.
let me go fix your hair. Like she deliberately like gives her an out. And then she obviously like relates to her in terms of like what happened at her own father's funeral and stuff like that. And it's beautiful watching them connect like that. And you understand so clearly how Sophie's going to be a perfect fit
sister
for this family.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
She's already part of the family in so many ways. Like Eloise, who's the hardest for to love anybody, loves her already. Like,
exactly.
Like there's already so many signs that she was like already part of the crew.
Yeah. But this is also where she notices that her necklace is missing.
Right. Yes.
And this is important because again, like you said, she's in a descent. She's going into a death-like state herself. Her heart is missing.
Yeah.
Her heart is missing.
Yeah.
Like, so that's like heartbreaking. They have this she and Benedict have a really bittersweet moment in the garden. It's so like,
and they say goodbye 3 times, I think, over the course of this episode.
They do.
So he's like, okay, I'm gonna say goodbye because I might not see you again, and that was so sad. And then Benedict admits he loves Sophie to his mom.
Yes. And he yells at her again.
Yeah, he does. And
rightfully,
Violet's like, wait a second. You love her? Oh no.
Oh no, crisis. I'm being called to account for my previous statements.
For my belief structure.
I know.
No. And then she's like, okay, just give me a minute. And then she's like, oh, if it's love, then we'll figure it out.
Right. Well, I love that. I love that she's like, I mean, to Violet's credit, she was not kidding when she said love was the most important thing.
Yeah. And she's like, we'll make just work. It's fine.
Yeah. She's like, it's cool. We'll figure it out. It's fine.
It's fine.
So, but I do like it. I actually really loved Benedict being like,
Unhinged.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's like, you're such a hypocrite. All you've said my entire life is how love is the most important thing. And now I love someone, and apparently that's not enough. And like, it just, again, angry Benedict like really works for me because it takes a lot to piss that man off.
Yeah, like he's a
very easygoing dude.
He's definitely at his wit's end with this problem that he cannot seem to figure out how to solve in ways that like Antony was always like in a box of his own creation. Like Benedict's trying to make a box around himself. Like it's very like reverse of Antony's season. So like in so many ways he's like, no. Wed me, bed me, make me your husband. Like, just sign me up.
I know. Yes. Like, put a baby in me. Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. It's like, now that we've said it, I can't.
It's so true, though. He would totally do it if he could.
He absolutely would. He absolutely would.
Yeah. And we also have like Hyacinth like losing her mind. Like, what's the point of love when your husband dies? And I was like, oh man, it hurts. Like the existentialism that she experiences. And then she's like, okay, I kind of see where you're coming from, Eloise. And Eloise is like, no, I just have disdain for almost everybody in existence. Yeah, like, well, it's a different place.
But it's so important because again, this is confronting Eloise with the consequences of that cynicism. And in fairness, like her cynicism, it is a it's protective of herself.
It's
how she sort of protects herself from getting hurt is she acts like she doesn't care. And that's what she's done from the very beginning is it's like, I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I think it's stupid that everyone else cares about it. But then when she sees Hyacinth like give up on love, she feels awful because she feels like she's deprived Hyacinth of something important. And also, again, Eloise has started to come around to the idea that actually maybe I am missing something.
There's been some really interesting small moments this season where they've focused on her. So I totally think she's going to be next, by the way.
I think she has to be next. Primed. I think it makes the most sense for her to be next. Like it just makes sense. But like, so that's all very sad. You have Francesca, thinking that she is pregnant or claiming that she is pregnant. So I have seen a lot of different takes on this about like, was she serious? Was she lying? And I think you can interpret it in a number of ways. Me personally, what I think was that the stress caused her cycle to be out of whack, which is not uncommon. And I think that she jumped on that, kind of clings to it as this like
hope,
desperate hope of like, oh, thank God I'm pregnant. Like, at least, I have this part of John. I will have done my duty, blah, 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 blah. So I think it's like, I think that it's nothing more than it was this desperate hope. And
I agree. And women's bodies are very much influenced by, they can be very influenced by stress. And
absolutely.
Yeah. And it was an unbelievably stressful time for that character.
Right. So I think that's what happened. And I don't really agree with people that are saying like, that either that she lied or that it was presented so that other characters would think she lied. I don't think that's it at all. I think it's literally just presented as she hoped it was true and it wasn't. And I think that's what I get from that.
Where are you reading these takes? They're all wrong. All right.
They are wrong. There's a lot of people out there being aggressively wrong about this season, and we are here to set the record straight. So
is The Office next, where they meet in the office?
Maybe. I can't tell. No, I think it's later because the whole thing with Francesca's maybe pregnancy kind of that happens in quick succession. So it's like, Benedict brings in what's he called, the solicitor or whatever for
Yeah,
the
and then
crown,
there's all the like pregnancy test and stuff like
Well,
that, and
and again, Benedict, to his credit, he jumps to Francesca's defense
Mhm.
immediately. He's like, "How dare you do this to my sister? No, you're not allowed." Blah blah blah. And then when she agrees to do it, it is just the most heartbreaking scene.
Yeah.
Um, and the way that Violet and Eloise are sitting there holding her hands, like I mean, I've said this a few times, but like I bawled in this episode. I truly did. Like the first time I watched this episode, I cried. I cried. And you and I have talked about this, like personal stuff going on in my life, but I haven't cried in months. I have been kind of numb and unable to cry about things that probably should have made me cry. This episode broke that, like, broke through that for me. And
Damn.
I just
Yeah.
cried and cried and cried. I just
Like
like, this was
this
such a heartbreaking scene.
yeah, very like crying because of like what you're seeing in a fictional story is actually very
Mhm.
cathartic. Sometimes
Yep.
if we're feeling like too stuck up like
Mhm.
with emotions because of everything that we're experiencing or all the stress, like go and watch a movie that you know will make you cry. It's
Right.
really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, so it's just it was really, it was sad. And again, they do have moments of like focusing briefly on like Eloise's face while this is going on and her just
Mhm.
being so devastated for Francesca. And I just think it's really important. I think she's been set up for the next season just because it's very clear she's come around to, this realization of what she's missing.
Mhm.
Um, and so it's just, I thought it was very sweet and very sad, but it's so well done. And so, yeah. And so Francesca also yells at her mother, which Violet gets yelled at by her children a lot. But in fairness,
Sometimes
they're
she
also
deserves
not
it.
wrong.
Yeah.
She needs to hear it too. And so Francesca says, "You had 8 children. I have nothing of John." And
Mhm.
and then later Violet is chatting with Mrs. Wilson and mentions, we were supposed to do this together. Edmund should be here. I don't have all the answers. And so
Mm.
anyway, that's just a whole sequence of, of scenes. But yeah, somewhere in there is the
The office scene.
office
I
scene,
think
which is very sweet as
I
well.
think it's when he's frustrated with like the estate and what's happening with Francesca. I
Right.
think they just like call it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And like she just basically comes in to comfort him. Like so this is like the second time she's like drawn to him just comfort him, and
Yeah.
they touch the sides of their hands.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it's like this a really important moment for me
Mm-hmm.
because it's hands, right?
Hands.
and
Mm-hmm.
the touching and just that like level of comfort that he is like he's hurting and she's like I can't even stand this.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he says every time I see you I'm conscious that this might be the last.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, and he's so baby because he's also just like, I hated the way we said goodbye at the funeral. Like, I mean, he's so, this poor man is so crushed. Like, I mean, she's on a descent, obviously, but he is
Mhm.
too because he's really suffering with not just what's happening to his family, but then just the fact that he's confronting her loss at the same time, and it's so hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So her plans sort of accelerate like through the Francesca stuff, through the wake, through the like celebration of life, Scottish wake.
Hmm.
Like all of that is so cool. Like I would
It's
really
so
really
well done.
appreciated it.
Hmm.
But Sophie's plans they accelerate because she finds out that the Penwoods have basically didn't wait for her. The new Lady Penwood, like it fell through her new job.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so she hears of a family that's planning to leave for America. And it's done through like a quick, like she's looking at a map of how far
Hmm.
away America is.
Right.
Sort of
Yeah.
those sorts of things. And so she starts to pack up, but we see her like through the entire episode looking for her necklace, looking for her
Right.
heart,
Right.
looking for this thing that's hers. And the ending of the episode broke me for them because
Yes.
of how it plays out. So she's
It's
like
so well done.
packing up, getting ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't find the necklace. She we have is it Posey that comes in to come
Yeah,
and save
Posey
her?
comes to warn her.
Warn
So
her,
Posey,
yeah.
It's so her plans accelerate not just because the job fell through, but because Posey's like, my mom is looking for you.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So she's
Basically.
like, okay, I got to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, so she's packing up, she's leaving. She leaves out the door because, of course, this is like the devil is chasing her, right? Like,
Right.
hey, I
Mm-hmm.
want to kill you. And we have a few things happen at once. So they're like, oh, she left for America, or like she was leaving for the Penwoods because he has found the necklace. He found the necklace.
No, but before that, because this is important. Remember how we said last episode that he's gonna have to decide to marry Sophie
no.
before he discovers her identity,
Right.
and he does. When he's at the wake and Francesca gives her speech about
She
how
would marry John.
right.
Yeah.
She doesn't regret the time she
Yeah.
spent with John. She's so grateful she had it. That is sort of the moment where he's like, that I have no reason not to marry Sophie.
And so that's how they all connect, like the
so
stories.
He rushes off to go propose to her, and that's when she's leaving. And so so he's like in his room, like he's getting the ring that his mom left for him.
And he has Violet's approval because she's like, and there's a ring.
I left you a ring. Yeah, exactly.
I left you a ring.
Yeah, so it's like, so he has her approval, so he goes to get, and that's when he discovers her necklace, and
then he's like, wait a second.
Right, hold on a minute.
And then he discovers the glove, and he's like, oh no.
Well, and I want to point out, like, she left the glove behind because her hands have actually started to grow back. She doesn't really need the silver hands anymore because, again, that's part of her exile and everything, is that the hands they're not fully there yet, but we're getting there. They've started to grow back. So that's the thing. But I just love, because in the book, it's different. It's like, she's playing blind man's bluff with like Hyacinth and Gregory, and he sees her where he only sees the bottom of her face, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I recognize you." And this is so much better
because so much more dramatic,
because it uses the motif, right, of the heart song and of the necklace and everything, and the fact that he recognizes her from the drawings. And I love that so much because they didn't need to invent that. Benedict is an artist. It's been there since the first season for him. So it's like the fact that he would have gotten this detail in these drawings, of course he did. And of course he recognizes her from that. And of course this is how it happens. And so I love that. This is my favorite variation on object penetrates the disguise in Cinderella that I've ever seen. Big fan. And so it's so great. So then he chases after her, and he's just a little too late.
Yeah, he's just a little too late, and the staff is like, "Oh yeah, she left," and Hazel's like, she was going to America," and he's like, "What?"
Well, and when Sophie is taken off to jail,
so she leaves the house, and she's captured immediately, right? Like the magistrate's there, the devil, I mean, the Lady Penwood is there. And she's captured immediately, and they zoom out from the house as she's driven off, and then they zoom into the door as Benedict comes out, and he's like, "Sophie!"
He's like, "Where'd she go?" But like, also keep in mind, like, they shackle her like wrists, so it's like she's been dismembered again by the devil as she's taken away because they've taken her hands again. So I just. It's heartbreaking. It's so good. I love it. I love all of the drama of it. So it was
much better than the book. I agree. The choice to make the symbolism that much more important. Like the glove is not even. Is the glove a thing in the book? I'm trying to remember, but
it is. Yes, the glove is a thing. I will be clear. I think in the book, to the extent that I think it was a reference of anything, Little Women, Meg's beau has her glove and keeps it, and it's a big scandal. So I always thought it might be kind of referencing that a little bit.
Yeah, it's very much like the shoe, right? Like they use it like that, like the Left Behind thing. On to episode 8.
Episode 8, and the devil is trying to make a deal with Sophie, but Sophie's not down for that. But I love the idea that she comes down and negotiates.
When I started this episode, I was like, the country dance. All right, this will be cool. This will be like an Aubrey Hall thing.
Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
It confused me to start, but it's great in
It
the
was
end. I
confusing.
was
No,
okay with
super
it.
good. No,
Yeah, so
it's
the
good.
devil shows up at the jail and is like, you've ruined everything for me, and this is what you deserve.
Mhm.
And she says the line, you have always made poor choices, which I thought was such an interesting line in this because she never makes poor choices.
No.
Sophie always makes the right choices.
Right.
But if you look at it in the lens of what I talked about at the start of the show with the devil, indecision, like having those like, I'm good, no, you're
Mhm.
bad, is the language of the devil
Right.
in
Well,
our own
and
psyche.
the way that she talks about her mother, like even like at the end of the previous episode when she's, Hazel's like, aren't you gonna keep looking for your mother's necklace? And she's like, no, I think I was just keeping it to remind myself of her like poor choices or something like that. So she even
Yeah.
had started to think of her mother as
As a, like,
making these terrible mistakes or something. And it's like,
mhm.
that is
That,
Araminta's description of her mother. That's not who her mother really
yeah,
was.
like she was really starting to listen to the devil. Like she was
Right.
starting to take that into herself. And it's
Mhm.
called out in this episode in the text.
Yes.
Which is so good.
Yes, it's excellent. So yeah, the devil shows up to basically one more time be like, you're wrong, you're not worthy, you're terrible. And even as an extension of Araminta, the magistrate or whoever it was there was the person in the jail. I forget what he's called. But anyway, when she's like, well, I can call people that will help me. And he's like, well, it's going to cost them. So you better be sure you're worth it to them. And so she ends up deciding not to reach out to anyone for help because she thinks that she's not worth anyone else putting themselves at risk for her. So again, the messages are getting twisted and she's led to believe that she's not worthy of anyone helping her. And
Nobody
that's
would love
another thing.
her. Yeah.
Yes. And that's another thing that gets called out in the text later. And she's challenged on. So she gets directly challenged on all of these assumptions that she has made or these beliefs that she has formed because of these intercepted and twisted messages from the devil.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so good. Also, in the courtroom scene, the judge tells Sophie she's not allowed to speak, and that made me think of when the devil demanded the tongue.
The tongue from the dough. Yeah. Or from her, but
Right.
is replaced with the dough. Yeah.
Right. Had to take her tongue.
And we have Benedict and Violet showing up in this power move. And they're like, no. And then, like, I am the second son of the, Viscount Bridgerton and Violet in there and, related to the Duke of Hastings. I was like, yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I thought that was good. I was like, Simon's still out there somewhere.
He exists. He's there. He would show up if they really needed him, right?
I think so. So,
yeah. And so, like, that court scene where the judge is just like, ugh.
I love that he's just
people.
like, can you stop? Like,
can you stop, please? Yeah. So it's a good scene.
It's a good scene. It's fun. I also like the way that when sort of the aggressive approach doesn't work as well, Violet sort of really quickly switches to like damsel mode.
Yeah,
and
like I need my lady's maid. Oh my!
I just can't without her. And Benedict immediately plays along. He's like, "Could you help my poor mother?" Like they're both just like, "Oh, won't you help a poor pitiful woman, please?" Like, and it's just, and he is just so over it. He's like, fine."
Yeah, and so they bring her back to the house, and Mrs. Wilson is like, "And your room is all prepared."
No, but the scene in the carriage, I do.
Oh, right. Because they confront her.
Right. Yeah. Because on the way back, they're like, why didn't you reach out to us for help? And she's like, oh, well, I've caused you so much trouble. I don't want to be a burden. And they're like, well, you're lucky other people intervened on your behalf. And that's when Violet says, well, you have a lot of people that care about you, Sophie. And again, this is kind of getting at some of these lies that Sophie has believed because of what Araminta has said. She just doesn't think, that anyone should or does care about her truly. And so this is part of what you were saying earlier about her like assembling the pieces of herself. Like all these
Yes.
people that actually do care about her are the pieces of herself. So yeah, she comes back and she meets with Hazel and Mrs. Wilson and John and all,
Yep.
and they're all there and they're all like, we're here for you. We're here to help you. You know,
Yep.
we got this. Like it's
And
very
this
sweet.
is where we start to see her heal her hands fully. Like this is like the pieces are starting to come together. Like,
Mhm.
oh no, people actually do care about me, not just
Yeah.
like the Bridgertons, but also I've got Hazel, I've got Mrs. Wilson, I've got
Yeah.
John, I've got
Yes.
Posey. Like Posey tried to protect
Yes.
me. Like
I
like
love
there's
it.
all of these people in her
Mhm.
life that actually do care about her. And
Mhm.
I love that John is
Yep.
posted
Oh my gosh.
to
So
stand
funny.
between their rooms and they're
Yeah.
like peeking, like
Yeah, so
very
funny.
kid like.
It felt very teenagery. Yes, I love
Yes,
that. It was
but
super
this is
funny.
this is the in of like respite that happens in
Mhm.
the story.
Mhm.
She is healed because she
Yep.
is she's able to
She's
sort
in
of,
a safe place with people who
yeah,
care for her. And so yeah,
exactly.
that's where she's able to like recover and her hands grow back. So yeah, exactly. So she's the fact that she's been placed there as a guest and everyone is looking out for her and protecting her. It is absolutely that part of the story.
I do like the
And
line that Benedict says
yeah.
before they're kind of separated by John, which is, I
Mhm.
spent so much time feeling alone in a crowded room. I fell for you at the masquerade because you saw me, just me.
Yes.
And this is like the
Yes.
call of the wild mate. So
Mhm.
it very much reflects what like women especially often feel, that they're not truly seen by
Mhm.
people, and it is a femme gaze um thing to not only be perceived by a man or a mate
Mhm.
uh as the main character, so she's been perceived, she's been seen, but also to have the gaze returned on the man or the mate.
Mhm.
It's a really, really
Yeah.
important part of femme gaze and
Mhm.
that sort of lens of storytelling.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's the most explicit way I've seen it called out because it is definitely part of all the other romances in Bridgerton as well.
Yes.
But here they made it
Use the
text,
text,
which was
yeah.
really nice. Yep, yeah,
We
yeah.
have
Subtext is for the week. So
John and Hazel's little cute
oh
moments,
my gosh,
which
they're
Hazel's like,
adorable.
"I'll distract him."
Yeah, yeah. Like it's such a hard thing for her to do. She's like, "Oh, I get to go talk to John's? Cool, game on." Like she's
Yeah.
yeah, and I love the way that he's all suddenly kind of shy. So he's like, "Well, I wasn't really sure if you were interested." And it's so
It's
cute. Like I
so
love
cute. I
them.
love them. And then we have Sophie sneaking into Benedict's room and confesses finally back very fully and like, I love
Mhm.
you, this is important to me. And then he was like just
Mhm.
about to get in the bath, and so yeah, like, let's bathe.
Well, no,
uh
no, no. First, that she tells him the thing about who her father
oh
was and
right,
how he
the
left her nothing, and that was
reveal.
why she like couldn't trust him to commit to her and everything. And I love that his first response before anything else is like, "Okay, you heard this from Araminta and you believed
Yeah,
her? Like what?" And I love the way that like you see the dawning realization on Sophie's face. She's like, yeah, I guess I just trusted what she told me. Why did I do that?" Like
why did I trust the devil?
she
Yeah, no, it was
clearly
great.
understood. Like she's like oops. And again, this gets back to this is the part of the story where the king returns and corrects the intercepted messages. Like he discovers that the messages were intercepted and corrupted, and he's like, whoa, 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 no, that's what's not going on here. So that's what Benedict is doing for Sophie, is he's like, that's not what we said. So
Yeah,
so it's really good, and
it
this is
also
great, and this
sets
is
up the opportunity for them to actually like have a solution out of this, which is
right.
the truth reveals the
Mhm.
the way out.
Right, exactly. So, but yeah, to your point, then they're like, let's get in the bath. And there's so many things happening here. Once again, like the sex scenes in Bridgerton always have so much more going on,
Well, I
which is
mean, just in
fantastic.
general, like bathing means like renewal and rebirth and like baptism,
Yeah.
right? Like it is the new opportunity for them,
Hmm.
but the reveal that like maybe her father wasn't as bad as she thought is the one of the biggest missing pieces for Sophie. And so
Mm-hmm.
she is together enough to have a sexual experience where she is a partner to her partner.
Yeah, where she's fully present. And so,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. So there's two things. So firstly is the, you know, being dirty and then bathing and purifying is a
Mhm.
huge theme in Handless Maiden. It happens again and again and again, and it's a
Yep.
really important cycle for the story. So again, we talk about they are the wild mates, the two of them. They have had to go on this descent where they have gotten dirtier and dirtier in this sort of underworld. And now together they consummate in the bath and they are like purified together. And so, yes, it's a rebirth, but it's like it's critical that it is them going through the full cycle of having become wild mates and they meet at the same place at the same point in their lives and are able to together then move forward into something new. So I do think it's really cool that it's in the bath. And then to your point, it's like, so she's like, hey, I don't want to risk getting pregnant. And he's like, that's fine. We can do other things. And of course, he's immediately like, it's cool. I got my hands here. And all of a sudden, she's like, wait a minute. My hands have grown back. I can.
I have hands too.
I know. And so she's like,
It's so wild. I saw this and I was like,
cool.
what the hell?
I know. Like, what?
Handless Maiden. What?
It's so
funny.
in your face. It's so in your face. It's wild. So I just couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, she's using her hands during intimacy because her hands grew back. Yeah.
But she doesn't until that point. That is so important.
Right.
She never does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who read these books that we read?
I need to know. I want to know. Someone reach out to us. Yeah. Okay, we need to know.
At us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then after this is when she finally gets this plan, right? So Eloise comes in and is like, "Oh my god."
She's like, sisters!
Yeah, sisters. Like, I've always wanted to be your sister. I didn't realize this, but the coolest thing happened under my roof and I had no idea. She's like, but then Sophie's like, "Can I ask you a favor? Can we do this? Can we go on a little adventure?" And so they go, and Eloise has to go and like kind of eat some crow and go and talk to Cressida and be like, "I love your pink." Well, Sophie goes and finds the will and is reunited with her her helpers, of course, her besties from the old house, Irma,
Alfie especially, who is still the fairy godmother, or not only is he the fairy godmother, he is potentially in the Handless Maiden story, he is the spirit in white who guides her. He's like a guiding spirit. Yeah. So that is very much his role.
Irma and him help, and they get the will, and she realizes, no, her father loved her in his own way, and had provided for her. And actually what had happened was the language was twisted and by Araminta, and she had taken advantage of the situation, which was the keeping her on and not paying her and just making her a servant. She got money from that. And so great. And then also there was
stealing her dowry.
Stealing her dowry. While this is happening, Violet and Benedict have this moment where he's like pacing in the room and she's like, "You're gonna wear a hole, like a line in the rug." And he's like, "Yeah, don't care. Worried about my lady. Excuse me." And she's like, "I never really bothered you because you were so much like me as a kid, and I knew that you'd figure it out, and I had a lot of faith in you, and I really loved this reveal because it really ties back to the idea that the Queen Mother character in Handless Maiden, thus Violet Bridgerton, really is like the source of this intuitive, wild power that Benedict needed to tap into to fully become himself, and to also to be a true partner to our wild woman who is Sophie."
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just important for Benedict, it's also important for Violet, because we will get to I think when we wrapped up here, then we'll go and talk about the whole cast and all of their journeys throughout the season. But Violet is having to make some very difficult decisions, and she's also confronting, kind of in some similar ways to Benedict, sort of the expectations of society and trying to determine, do I go along with that? or do I in fact rebel
Mm-hmm.
and go a different direction because I am in fact this wild woman
Mm-hmm.
and I want something different. And I actually
Exactly.
want to embrace the wild and passionate and irrational parts of myself, which she does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only by kind of helping Benedict through his struggles that she realizes this, rediscovers this really about herself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, right, I forgot that wild part of myself. And actually, I want it back.
Yep. And so the plan in and of itself is sort of formed because of Mrs. Mondrich's interaction. She's sort of like a fairy godmother as well in this because
Yes.
she sets up the ball and she sets up all
Mm-hmm.
of the magic that ends up
Mm-hmm.
playing out. That and the knowledge that Sophie discovers within the house.
Mm-hmm.
The Cressida as Eloise scene is so good, and
Yes,
yeah,
it's really good.
it's really good.
It was also just so important again because it goes back to this idea of like Eloise is finally acknowledging that she is missing something. And every single thing that
Yeah.
she has experienced and witnessed in this season has taken her to that point of like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
actually, there's something here and I kind of wish I had it. And so it was important, I think, to, see her have that interaction with Cressida and like feel real compassion for Cressida's situation and everything. I I'm also really happy for Cressida because we talked about how we think that she had a rough time last season.
Yeah.
Like obviously she made poor choices, but also like
I just wonder because like
she was in a tough situation.
she's not in like Eloise's book obviously because she's not really a character that's other than she's just mentioned. They've made her like a much bigger character, but I hope they bring her in somehow. Like I hope that she's like trying to hook Eloise up at the start of the season and that's what like
That would be cool.
drives things for her. I
Yeah.
think that would be really cool. Anyways,
We'll see. We'll see.
so we come to the
Hmm.
Queen's Ball, which is
Yeah.
actually a goodbye to Lady Danbury's because she's like
Because she finally allowed her to leave.
she finally allowed her to leave. We kind of skipped over that when that happened,
Mhm.
but it comes down to this confrontation. So they sneak Sophie in. She's with the Bridgertons. They like go
And
around her.
I love that whole idea of like, oh, you have a lot of children, right? And Violet's like, oh yeah, lots of kids. Like, and so that no one even notices Sophie coming in because Violet has so many kids. They're just used to it.
They're just used to like, who's there? I don't know how
Like
many.
a bunch of
them.
Bridgertons.
A bunch of Bridgertons come in. Yeah. And then they sneak off to a room. And have this confrontation. But before that, there's this moment where Posey and Eloise are having a moment. And Eloise is like you can do what you want. You can go get it. And it's the lesson that Eloise needed to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
To be like, you can go get it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Go for
and
it.
I love that. I love Posey being like, oh, actually, I could go dance with that guy who clearly has a big crush on me. Like,
yeah,
so
like
cute.
I could go get. I love Posey. Posey was like the like a secondary like non-Bridgerton MVP of this season.
Her.
Like she was so great.
I love Posey. She's amazing. So yes, so she's wonderful in this, and yeah. So then there's the whole like, oh, we'll meet you in this other room, or like I think does Mrs. Mondrich tell Araminta that the Queen will
she's
meet her,
been summoned, but she doesn't say it's the Queen.
That's it. That's right. She just lets her assume.
Yeah.
That's right.
And she's like, oh, that was easy. And then they show up and they have this big confrontation where basically it's like, no, you kept me under this like lie for so long. And like Araminta like airs her dirty laundry, which is like nuts shit that like, it's really Sophie's fault. Like it's just like what it is.
Yeah.
And they all kind of agree through forcing her hand that this is what is best to essentially acknowledge Sophie as a relative.
Yeah, well, and this is where we get back to that conversation we had kind of at the beginning about how like I do have somewhat mixed feelings about the idea of like the solution to this whole thing was the lie that we agreed on. I do feel a little weird about that, but that said, I do think that the overall idea of Sophie was always supposed to be acknowledged as a full member of the Penwood family, and she was not. And so, regardless of the exact framing that they use technically she's taking her rightful place.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's sort of how it plays out in the book, right? Araminta basically says like, yeah, she was of this house or whatever.
Right.
And I think it ends up being that she was a ward. I'm trying to remember the book. It's been a couple of years since I read it. But it works out okay. And then essentially because the queen exists, it's hand waved by the queen. She's like, wait, this isn't actually what happened. But that's fine. I find it funny. I find your audacity funny.
Well, see, and that's what I like, is that like when they do this, it's almost like this sort of tacit agreement that like we're giving the queen the excuse she needs to okay this, but everyone in the room acknowledges that we know this is not true. Like we know.
Yeah.
And so that's the other part of it, I think, too, is just sort of like it's the lie that they will all accept in order to just be like, yeah, it's fine, it's cool, move on. And the only aspect of that, like I said, that just kind of like bugs me a little bit is that what it means is that they're not actually challenging the society and the structure of the society and the idea of like, no, it's impossible for a nobleman and a maid to marry. Like, they're kind of leaving that intact. So that's where, while I know it would be kind of radical, I think in later seasons, especially since they don't usually have any issue with being super anachronistic, I think it would be cool if they were to challenge that more directly and if they were to like find some way, especially if, as we were talking about before, if they keep up with this underclass as main characters in the ensemble cast, instead of just background characters, I think there might be an opportunity to do that.
That would be really cool. So they have the resolution. She's introduced as Sophie Gunn because that was her father's name, and now she's of that family. And they dance together in front of everyone. The biggest comment I heard about this was, how did Sophie learn how to dance? And I'm like, well, she attended dance lessons for months with Hyacinth. So
there you go.
She was forced to dance with Hyacinth.
Yep. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't hand wave. I don't care.
Well, but they also have a cute little comment about like, oh, where'd you learn to dance? And she's like, oh, my first instructor.
Yeah. Well, that's and when they go to outside to the little like outdoor area outside of the back of the house.
Yeah, like the little pavilion.
But then we also get the new Whistledown introduction. So Whistledown is back, and it is fascinating. There are so many people who are like speculating on this, but the cadence that Julie Andrews uses is different.
It is different. It's just, she sounds different. Yes.
She sounds different. And I thought that was like such a interesting, intentional choice. And I'm really excited to talk about what you think about the new Whistledown. But first I want to say, if you haven't watched the after credits scene, what are you doing?
Yeah, for real. Come on. There's an after credits scene and you have to watch it. Okay.
And it's so cute. So it's their wedding. And Luke had actually talked about this little detail. And so people called it out and posted it online. But his little like cravat pin is a kite. Like a little picture of a kite, and the wedding is so cute, and it made me so happy to see a wedding. It was so cute. I love the weddings.
Yes, I love it too. And it's also nice because so every other wedding in Bridgerton, so Daphne and Simon, like it was a weird kind of rush to the altar because we got caught snogging in the garden or whatever, and
we didn't even see Kate and Anthony's wedding.
We didn't see Kate and Anthony's because all they had was the like the disaster wedding with her sister. And then season 3, by the time they get married, her identity as Whistledown has just been revealed, and Colin's kind of pissed at her, so they're sort of like not on great terms.
This was such a nice wedding.
This was just like, nope, they're in love and they're getting married, and I was like,
and it's at my cottage.
It's at my cottage, and Anthony acknowledges that he was wrong and that Benedict should never listen to him.
And I do want to say, like, this is a spoiler for a future book, but they live at my cottage. So they are wild mates that live in the country.
Yep. Yeah. I love it.
It's so perfect.
So I love it. I love it so much. It's so great. And then I also love the way that sort of there's this voiceover about love, and they gradually kind of focus on each of the characters whose season is still yet to come. So they focus
Mm.
on Eloise and on Francesca, on Gregory, on Hyacinth, and on Violet, because we know.
Mm.
Okay, and that's, I know we're gonna get into the to other characters, but like that's the thing, is that like Violet hasn't found her happily ever after
Yeah.
yet.
And like the whole mess
will.
with Marcus, and he's just like, I'm not here to wait. And she's like, oh.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
wait for your self-discovery
Right.
moments.
Right. Well, and it's very obvious that what they're setting up is her to rediscover who she was as a young woman, which is why we
Yes.
think it's very likely that her story will probably be told in parallel. It will be young Violet and her romance with Edmund,
Very similar
and older
to
Violet with whoever she ends up
Queen
with
Charlotte.
eventually.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I wonder, like, I was wondering if it was going to be next. I still think it'll be after
Yeah.
Eloise, anyways.
Yeah.
Do you want to dig into everybody else and where they're at?
Now let's
and
talk about the rest
thoughts?
of the cast.
The Queen.
The Queen.
She's very
Um,
close to death, timeline wise.
Yes. Well, and everything about the way she's behaving is very much like this is a character that's on their way out,
Yeah,
which is really sad.
it is, because she's so good at it. But
So good.
oh
Mhm.
man, it is a lot. I love her. She brings such gravitas to the
Mhm.
story, but it's not necessary. Like, it's not a character that's actually in any of the books.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I don't know.
it's fine. If they decide that, like, the Queen character, like, the Queen in history dies 2 years before
Mm.
George. So
Mhm.
like, could be something that they do. Lady
Yeah. We'll
Danbury's
see.
Lady Danbury's change of, like, I
Mhm.
want to leave, I thought was a
Mhm.
really, really good sort of conflict with the Queen, and how it was
Mhm.
resolved, and they held hands and they were like, we've had so much fun. Like,
Oh,
it
it's very sweet.
it felt like a permanent goodbye. I'm
It
sorry.
did. It did.
Uh,
I don't know. It definitely like I feel like it's not that they'll never bring them back. It's that what they're trying to do is set it up so they don't have to rely on them for future plots. So they can be there, but they're not going to be as central. And I feel like that's where we're going, because what they're doing is they're just looking at like these stories take a long time to tell, and these cast members are aging. Let's make sure that again we haven't built like the whole plot around them.
And it also gives more space for Anthony and Kate to take on roles as the patriarch, and also, like, in charge, the Viscount and Viscountess of the story. They
Mhm.
are the king and the queen of the family. Like,
They are.
they need to, like, take those roles
Hmm.
for the family problems that develop, which there's a lot of still to come.
Oh
Don't
yeah,
worry.
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
So we have Anthony, Kate, plus Edmund. We see them come back. Anthony is always wrong. I'm happy he apologizes by the end of the season, but he also gets to be wrong again in the future.
Mhm. I feel like he has a lot of years of being wrong ahead of him.
Yeah, but we get some great
So,
Anthony stuff in
mhm.
future books, so hopefully he
Nice.
is back.
Yeah.
Colin plus Penn. Penn had a great season of, like,
She
oh, my
did.
power. Oh no, what I'm doing. I'm happy she's pivoting towards writing her book.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Mhm.
so many good things, and we got to see cute little Colin being like a coach to Gregory.
Yeah, it was cute. Yeah, so Cupid Colin was pretty great.
Yeah.
I also thought that just with Penn in general, there's that brief scene where she looks in the mirror and sees herself
Oh
as
yeah,
a
that
young
was
girl.
great, and how
Right.
much the changes
Yeah.
happened. Yeah.
Like that was really nice too, because it was sort of like it was her as she sort of says goodbye to Lady Whistledown. It's her going like, I'm really proud of what I achieved, and who that girl was and everything. And so it's very much about her sort of like loving her past self, and I thought that was really sweet. But yeah, and then mostly Colin's just wife guying
Yeah.
this season, but that's fine. Good
That's
for him.
fine. He has
And
some stuff, I think,
yeah.
in Eloise's season, so
Oh yeah.
hopefully a little bit. They all kind of, the Bridgerton
Nice.
boys are all there.
Nice.
Daphne and Simon in a name only
Yeah, boo.
this season. Although, not to speculate, but Reggie just recently refollowed all of the cast members
What?
on
This is, oh my
Instagram.
gosh. Come on. Give it to me.
I just want them back. I love them so
back.
much.
I want them back. I also just want to see them. Like we talked about this last time with with Anthony and Kate. Like, I just want to see these characters back and like being messy in new and creative ways. Like that's the thing, is that like they do go through their own journey and grow and become better versions of themselves. But the whole point is that we all go through different kinds of journeys and
and like Anthony getting older is going to be on a whole thing. I do need to call out Katie, my friend's theory, because of specifically what Whistledown says. You thought I was gone for good. Could Daphne be Whistledown?
I would love that. I mean, like, to be honest with you, I'm terrified of speculation at this point. I don't really want to guess, but I love that idea.
It's either, for me, Whistledown is either servants like Varley or some mix of the servants, or Daphne.
Yeah.
Because of what she says, you thought I was gone for good. That is the sort of meta stuff.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff they do.
They do. They love that. Like, you thought Daphne wasn't coming back. Well, actually.
Like, womp womp. Yes.
It gives her something to do. And that actress has wanted to be in the show. Like, oh man, I love it so much. So shout out to Katie for that theory.
I love that theory. We will see.
We will see. I'm actually good also with just bringing back Daphne and never finding out who Whistledown is. I kind of like until the end. Like, yeah.
Honest to goodness, it doesn't particularly. I'm assuming this is them leaning really hard into the whole like, oh, it's Gossip Girl, but in Regency times, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that during the run, I didn't watch that show very much, but I know that during the run of Gossip Girl, there was like so much speculation about who it was, and they deliberately like misled people in different directions. So I just think it
also causes problems for Penn, like because people are really like, it's actually you, and then no.
I think it's going to be interesting because they will keep us guessing. Like a lot of things have kind of been resolved in the last few seasons. And so introducing this, it's like something that could potentially carry us through multiple seasons. And I'm actually fine with that. I like the idea of like, having this, ooh, there's a new Whistledown. Who is it kind of hanging over us? It makes you not really know what their motives are and everything. So it just could be very, very interesting. So I'm excited about that. Who else? Who else do we need to talk about?
Eloise. We really loved her this season. We talked a lot.
Loved Eloise this season.
I loved her changes. She's totes primed to be the lead of the next season. I gotta say, shout out to Theoise Reddit for existing still.
Yeah, Eloise Reddit is still doing great. I love it.
I mean, like, it's not happening. They're going to follow the books because they've already laid all the groundwork. But
yes,
I appreciate you guys because I too ship things that don't happen.
I think everybody should always be willing to ship the things that don't happen. That's where the interesting, fun, cool stuff happens. I mean, heck, a whole bunch of books, novels were just published for a ship that never happened. So like, let's be real here. Like, so you do you, man. Plus they were super cute. I love.
And if you love them that much, write your own fiction about it.
Please do.
And it will get published.
There you go.
And then you will make your next Bridgerton show.
That's right. See?
Do it.
It all happens. Do it. We want to see it.
We love transformative works.
Yep. So that was great. But she grew so much in this season, and at the same time she's, to your point, primed for that really big step that she's going to take.
It's interesting because the trigger for her book, in the book specifically, is Penn's wedding. But this will be Benedict's wedding that probably triggers her.
Yeah.
And I do take action.
I do think it has to be her and not Francesca. I know that they haven't officially told us yet. We know it's either Eloise or Francesca, but they haven't actually announced it yet. I think it really has to be her because as much as I'm excited for Francesca's season, there's still a lot of room to do stuff with Francesca's character before her and Michaela are like official.
Yeah.
And versus Eloise, who unfortunately really has nowhere to go from here.
No, she's
other
been
than
stuck.
Yeah, other than
Uh,
into her season. It is the only logical next step for her.
just
So I really think it has to be her season next.
Yeah, it's so funny because somebody was like, you were done with Benedict before his season. I'm
Yeah,
done with
right.
Eloise, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
and
Yeah,
I get
I was
it. And at the
fine
same
with
time, I
her,
don't
but
feel that way. I liked her.
I know she's getting primed for what she's gonna
Mm-hmm.
have. Francesca, John, and Michaela was handled with so much power and
Oh,
care. I loved it. All of the people that were worried, I just need to like point at this season and say like love, like they handled it so
it's
well.
so
It
good.
wasn't like Michaela was replacing John. Like John was really, really
No,
important to her, and we saw that, and it was like, wow, do I trust these storytellers so much
it's
now?
so good. It was so good. And I even love the way that they wrapped it up. The idea that Francesca specifically asks her to
Yeah,
stay
and Michaela's
because
like,
she's relying on her. And
whoa, no,
Michaela panics because
and
she's like,
leaves.
"Oh no,
Yeah.
no, no, I have to go." And the thing too that I think is really interesting is the whole thing with like when Francesca's trying to get Michaela a suitor and all this other stuff, and John says, "No, no, no." She said she's like marching into spinsterhood and all this other kind of stuff. The way that they have set this up is Michaela knows she's gay
Mm-hmm.
and has just sort of been like, I gotta stay far away from all this stuff because it's not gonna work for me in this society. And so when
Mm-hmm.
she realizes that she has feelings for Francesca, she's just like straight up panics and she's like, I'm out.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm gone. And so
and like
that's really
from
important.
I haven't read the book yet. It's on my list, but my understanding is like Michael is quite pushy in the books.
Mhm.
So it will be interesting to see how that plays out.
Right. And that's why I say they need more time to get these
Mhm.
characters there. They're not there yet. Like
Mhm.
it's there's going to be a lot of fallout from what happened with
Oh.
John, and there's going to be a lot of like
Oh yeah.
Francesca right now is just kind of grieving, but she will go through a period where she's like, what the heck does the rest of my life look like now?
Yeah.
Like now what, you know? And so she has to go through that, and I just don't think it makes sense for her to like immediately go into her next romance. It would just be really weird for her. That said, they had so much chemistry this season, and so
Yes.
I am 100% on board with what were they calling them? I think they called like Francescala, I think is what they're
Francescala. Yeah, that
something
sounds
like that.
right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm totally on board. They're so perfect. They're so pitch perfect
They're
in
so
terms of
cute.
like you understand why they gravitate towards one another, and it's a very much like
Mhm.
an opposites attract situation. Whereas her with John, like they were so similar and that's why they were so close. Her with Michaela is going to be like, we're totally different, but we have what the other one needs
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
I'm
So
really looking
I
forward
think
to
it's going to be
that.
great. It's going to be so good. So I am, whenever it comes about, I'm absolutely looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. And this season was just so well done. And I was so happy to see how well they handled it. And it was very cathartic, like sad, but cathartic.
Gregory
So,
in Love,
mhm.
he was so cute, and he had a
Oh my
he had a, he
God.
had such a good line. Mother should have stopped at 7
That was hilarious.
when
Yes.
Hyacinth is freaking out.
Yeah, exactly.
I
He's like, I'm
love the
trying to get her to calm
siblings
down.
so
They're so
much. I
great.
love
They're
them.
so great. Yeah, the
Hyde,
whole back and forth about lemonade.
oh my
He's like
god.
panicking. He's like, "What do you mean lemonade? No one told me about the lemonade."
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
like
yeah.
just like losing his mind. I love it.
He like and both him and Hyacinth are like trying to push themselves into adulthood so quick. It was really
Mm-hmm.
interesting to see Hyacinth like really want love, want the like all of the trappings of adulthood, and
Mm-hmm.
then be faced with like the existential dread that comes with the death, that are
Mm-hmm.
like oh my god, what happened? And really felt for her because like
Mm-hmm.
it it will slow her progress down a little bit, I think,
Yeah.
which is important also. Like, be a kid for a while, it's fine.
Right. Well, and the whole
Yeah.
thing of like, I'm going to delay my debut and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
Like, so what will end up happening with her is that she will take a step back and start really thinking more deeply about things and,
Mhm.
just about everything, about life in general, because it's not all just like, I have this path laid out for me now. It's like, oh, wow, everything can be cut short. I need to actually stop and consider carefully what I want.
Yeah, yeah. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. We also have Cressida, who we loved her
Mm-hmm.
return. Welcome back,
Yep.
Cressida. The
Super
new
stoked
Lady
for
Penwood.
her. Yes, yes, and her absolutely impeccable pink taste. Like you said, she is the Barbie of the ton, and I'm here for it.
Yeah,
Please,
she
it's
lives in her Barbie
amazing.
house.
It
And of course,
does.
Posey, who we saw at the wedding
Mm-hmm.
in the after credit scene with her guy. And according to the book,
Mm-hmm.
Eloise's book, she lives nearby
Oh, I love it.
my
Love it, love it, love
cottage.
it, love
Yeah.
it. That's so great.
And
And then are we gonna get into Violet? Because there's a lot happening.
yeah, I totally skipped over Violet when I
Oh,
was going down
sorry.
my
That's
list,
fine.
but
No worries.
yes, let's talk about Violet last. Violet.
Yeah. I suspected that she and Marcus would break up by the end of the season, so I was not surprised by that. What I
Mm-hmm.
found interesting was the why and the how. Um, it really did come down to that whole thing of her. Yeah, like when he says to her, one of the things that he likes about her is that she's such a practical woman. And you see this like brief twinge of like, huh? On her
Like she
face.
doesn't think that she's a practical woman, but
Right.
she's
Or that she doesn't want to be described that way.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
She's
There's a
always,
lot of like
yeah.
crone stuff. Like I've been reading a
Mm-hmm.
lot more about like the crone like archetypes and
Yeah.
like reclaiming your body and reclaiming your life is like a
Mm-hmm.
big part of it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I have a lot of thoughts on like why they're telling this story this way because they
Yep.
really have never we don't see this sort of story on the
No.
screen.
Mm-mm.
And I suspect there's also going to be a lot of heroine's journey stuff like
Yes.
detangling the patriarchy and like
Yep.
probably
Mm-hmm.
some wild woman stuff like
Mm-hmm.
Boba like oh
I
there's
know what
one
you're saying.
story
Mm-hmm.
about like reclaiming your body from the fact that you had to give like birth to children and
Mm-hmm.
all of this stuff. So there'll be some cool stuff when they get around to her story. I know that they've published her
Mm-hmm.
story in like a little novella,
Yeah.
but I've never read it, so
Yeah.
I'm
Maybe
looking
I'll read
forward
it
to
at
it.
some point. But I
Yeah.
do think it's fascinating because like we've heard so much about her romance with Edmund, so I think it'd be really fun to see it and then also have that compared to like her having a more serious romance later in life. But I do think that what we're getting into is that, you know, she needs to discover that wild woman and she doesn't want to be practical and she doesn't want to be reasonable and she doesn't want to be rational. She has always talked about like the joys of being carried away by her passions, and that is what
Mm.
she wants. And so the whole reason that the thing with Marcus fizzled out is because he was almost like too reasonable. Like every time she would say anything, he wouldn't challenge her. He'd be like, absolutely, we can do it, whatever it is you want to do. And you could always see
We
this
could be
little bit of,
slow, yeah,
yeah,
and
you would see the
also
frustration on her face that he just like, he didn't, like, he wasn't sort of carried away by his passion for her. And that's what she wants.
she has to restrain herself because of her children.
Right.
So she's actually not able to do the thing that she probably really is craving, which is actually just
Mm-hmm.
being this full like bodied
Yeah.
passionate person.
Mm-hmm. Right,
So
exactly. Well, it's
cool.
a lot of it is like the hiding, the
Mhm.
oh, you have to sneak out and I don't want my children to know. Like, so her being able to have kind of like an out and in your face romance at her
Mhm.
age is going to be a huge part of this, I think.
Be
So,
so good.
hmm
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, this season.
Oh, so much great stuff happening in this season. It was fantastic. I loved it.
And when they get around to the next one, we will be sad.
We will be here. Yes. Yes, no worries. We're ready.
We're very ready. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
I am just so glad this show exists. And what I want to say is obviously I think we all have different expectations and hopes and relationship with the books and everything else. And so I understand that there are a number of different opinions about it. But I would encourage everyone who has been watching this show to just consider how extraordinary it is that a show like this exists at this point in time,
Mhm.
and how it does give us things that we don't get anywhere else. The focus on feminine pleasure, the focus on consent, the focus on, femme gaze journeys of, we have a number of queer characters and we're just getting
Mhm.
more and more of them and they're getting more central roles all the time. The way that the story is frankly so compassionate and forgiving of its villains is another thing too. And so
Focused on
I'm
family. Like,
absolutely family, everyone
yeah.
supporting one another, like It's just
People can make mistakes. Like it's
absolutely.
and it's about growth, always about healing. Like, oh, there's
Hmm.
so many like just
Yeah.
wonderful things about
And the
Bridgerton.
challenges of all different ages, as we said. Like,
Hmm.
so there's just things that exist in Bridgerton that, frankly, we don't find anywhere else in media right now. And so I just encourage everyone to really, as much as you can, enjoy the beautiful things that Bridgerton gives us. Because I'm so grateful it exists. And I just, like I said, I am here for them to do every single season, every kid plus Violet plus whatever other spin-offs they are in the mood for. I will take all of them. So
Like I think I read somewhere like I would literally watch Kate and Anthony's just like weekly sitcom show. Like their
yeah,
spin-off of just them
yeah.
doing their lives.
They could even give us, you know what, jump forward like 30 years and give me the next generation. I will take that too.
Hmm.
Whatever. I don't
Hmm.
care. I want all
Like
of it.
make it like the ongoing soap opera of our lives. Like
Yes,
please.
exactly. I
Yeah.
really love that. So anyway, it's been a pleasure. I enjoy it so much, and yeah. So that's me.
I really, really loved this, and I loved how intentional the symbolism and the
Hmm.
motifs were, as well as how clearly we can illustrate that you can only be your whole self by
Hmm.
collecting the things that you've been denying yourself.
Hmm.
And that it's a good takeaway for anybody who saw themselves in Sophie or saw themselves in
Hmm.
Benedict, and that it's okay to do that. You have my
Yeah,
support.
yeah. And I think the other thing too is, many of the doubts that we have are lies,
Mhm.
and I think that's really important to remember.
And
And
they're lies of our own psyche. The devil
yeah.
exists within our own psyche. So
Hmm.
we tell ourselves these lies. And so the quickest way to get around them is to find the truth for yourself.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
that's pretty wonderful. So thank you, Bridgerton creative team. Thank you, everyone who's involved. I really, really love this season, and I look forward to all of your future stories. Missy, where can people find you if they're looking for your thoughts online?
Please look for me on Tumblr, where I am All Girls Are Princesses.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I'm on Blue Sky at Marie C. Gould. And if you are looking for the podcast on Blue Sky, it's WT Fiction at Blue Sky. Thanks, everyone. And I'm sure we'll be back with more What the Fiction at some future point. Cheers.